baloney wash. I'm annoyed. I'm just here to give my opinion and carry in. Oh, it's Kris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. What's up, everybody? What's going on? It's your boy Kris Avalon. Happy Tuesday, and welcome to a brand new episode of Kris Avalon Unfiltered, a show we basically talk about all things going on in celebrity news and pop culture. So if that's the thing for you, definitely stick around because we have a lot of tea to spill today. Apparently, I can't talk. Including, we got to talk some X-Files news and Ryan Coogler because that's finally a go. Speaking of Ryan Coogler, there was this Amanda Seales video that I'm definitely gonna play y'all, but it has to do with the whole Warner Brother. Well, not Warner Brothers. It has to do with the BAFTAs and that sort of thing. And then come to find out, there's more fallout that happened with the BAFTAs, including Warner Brothers done hit them up and was like, "Can y'all remove the N-word situation?" And they didn't do it until the whole backlash happened. So Warner Brothers had their back, but we'll get into that. Plus, it gets worse because apparently Google posted a article with the headline with the word in it. The N, it wasn't in, it was the whole situation. And somebody caught it and now they're apologizing. So we'll get into that now. Speaking of racism, the girl group, K-pop girl group International, KATSEYE, is caught up in a whole racism situation because one of the girls, Manon Bannerman, don't well, she quit the thing. They talking about she exited. She quit. But they tried to say she was sick or whatever the case. She was like, "I'm not sick. I'm good." So we'll get into that. Plus the other girl group members of other girl groups came to her defense in this whole situation. So we'll talk about that. Plus, we got to get into some old Tyra Banks news, and this ain't got nothing to do with top model. She's going through it with this whole situation regarding her ice cream company and the DC landlord and a whole bunch of drama that was going on with that. So we'll get into that. Plus, the ANTM judges are fighting because Kelly Cutrone decided to come for Jay Manuel's neck in regards to this whole little tour that he's been on, where she says that he's been slamming Tyra Banks. So we'll get into that. Plus, Kris Jenner tired of Ray J opportunistic thirsty for attention, having ass because she filed a declaration against him and said that he been out here lying on Kim's vagina. Well, she ain't said that part. I'm saying that, but basically that's what it is. Because if it wasn't for Ray J sticking his hook shaped penis up in that Kardashian coochie, she wouldn't be where she is today. So we'll get into that. Plus, Little Kim out here got the unmitigated gall to blame us because her career is where it is today. So we'll get into that. We playing the clip, but she went and had an interview with Nick Cannon in a car. Apparently, they didn't invent lights to put on in the car if y'all gonna be doing the interview, but. um We'll get into that. Plus, a child star is in trouble. We got some tea regarding Zachery Bryan. He going to jail because he can't keep himself out of getting DUIs. Carrie Underwears is caught up in a political crossfire because she apparently went on Twitter to complain she got her ass booed at one of the American Idol audition situations. So we'll get into that. Plus, that this old tired ass punk, the DO whisper, got charged with aggravated stalking and serves her stank ass right. But we'll get into that story. Plus, we got some news regarding heated rivalry. Y'all might have to wait a little longer for that. Fifi O'Hara, we got to talk about that iconic episode of Fifi O'Hara on All Stars 2 because she's speaking out about it and people still bringing up things. And she went on Twitter and started addressing some things regarding that infamous episode where they was behind the double mirror and she was talking smack about the girls. Yeah, I remember that episode. So we'll get into that. And child, y'all gonna gag when y'all find out how old that episode is and the anniversary number that is coming up. I'm like, damn, Jerry Gray's been on that long. So we got that. Plus, Plain Jane out here trying to throw shade at the season 18 girls while promoting her stint on um House of Villains. So we got all that and a whole lot more. So before we get to those topics, if you please do me a solid, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and also be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Kris Avalon Unfiltered. Um, I was gonna see if I could do a whole members only stream, but I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Because we got some people up in here that hold on, why did I close out? Anyway, excuse me. Okay, it's back open. Felix says stars 2 is yes, sir. You done spoiled it, even though I'm sure if y'all did the math, y'all would already know. I know everybody's like, what you talking about? Let me put up the comments. I'm foolish says, hi, how you doing? Yeah, it is All Stars 2. It's 10 years old. I'm like, I don't even want to think about it. It's like I feel old up in here because it's been a minute. But yeah, so there we have that. So now without further ado, let me hit my banner. I ain't gonna keep y'all any longer. We're getting right into the show. Feel free to leave some comments, respectful. Because if y'all come out y'all face, y'all already know bitches gonna get blocked on here with the buffoonery. So um let's get in our first topic, which is a while back. I don't remember how long ago, but Ryan Coogler had been talking about in interviews that he wanted to do a reboot of the X-Files and pretty much get that off the ground. Now, we love the original X-Files. You know, Mulder and Scully will always be my favorite FBI team that investigates the bizarre and the paranormal and all the other crazy things that they were investigating. But that's a time gone by. We can always cherish those old episodes or whatever the case is. But now Ryan Coogler has an idea. He wants to reboot the series. They already have the female lead, and that's Danielle Deadwyler, who actually like her. Did she win the Oscar last year, or was she nominated? I can't remember. I mean, was she nominated and didn't win? Because I remember she was nominated, but I don't remember she won or not. But and I saw already the comments online. People are talking about DEI, X-Files, and all the racist bullshit that a lot of y'all like to say. And y'all can go suck somebody dick from the back. Nobody cares about your racist opinions about whatever. Because anytime they change something up or something becomes different, y'all go with the same tight ass talking points, woke, DI, all the crazy things that my quiet as is kept, a lot of you white people have been benefiting from, especially all the morons in the White House. You think they earn all the jobs that they got up in there? No, that's the loyalty situation that they got with that. So the people out here making these comments, it's like, oh, playing traffic. And here's the thing. If you don't like it based off of just the casting instead of like a normal person sitting and watching the show, watch it. It's that simple. But everybody got with a social media, with a phone and a social media handle, just thinks that, oh, you know what, my opinion is valid. So I got to go online and I just got to spew a bunch of vitriol and hate or whatever because I need y'all to know that I don't approve of this situation. But here's the thing: where you're not producing this, you're not putting the money behind it. Hulu is. So until you own some stock in Hulu, nobody gives a damn whether you want the show or not. And like I said, you don't have to watch it if you don't want to watch it. Um, so let me hit the photo as we get into the article. And okay, so Hollywood Reporter has revealed that Hulu is moving forward with its reboot of The X-Files. Black Panther and Sinners filmmaker Ryan Coogler is confirmed to write and direct the pilot, which has been officially greenlit. Um, so, this has been a passion project for Coogler. He is a huge fan of the franchise, and I believe he's going to write and direct the pilot. After that, I'm sure that he'll put a writer's room together, even though I did read I think it was a recent article in Variety or whatever, where they're talking about the death of TV, which is like all the conglomerates that are coming together are they're getting rid of writers' rooms on these other things. So things aren't working out the way they used to. And it's unfortunate the way that the old way that they used to do television. I'm like, we need writers' rooms because um we just need writers' rooms because I just feel like if you get like maybe 6 or 7 people to come write some stuff, you get some real quality product versus you putting the pressure on one person because y'all acting like y'all too cheap to want to pay somebody. So, as I stated before, Danielle Deadwyler, the woman who was in The Woman in the Yard, which was not a good movie, and The Piano Lesson, has landed one of the two coveted starring roles in the series. While we don't, well, while there are no character details, a new long line has been released and this is what we could expect. It says two highly decorated but vastly different FBI agents form an unlikely bond when they are assigned to a long shuttered division devoted to cases involving unexplained phenomena. Well, that sounds like the original plot log line for the other show. Now, in the original version, Dana Scully, Agent Dana Scully, to be specific, played by Gillian Anderson and Agent Fox Mulder, David Duchovny, were paired up in the FBI's paranormal division, with the former assigned to debunk Mulder's steadfast belief in extraterrestrial threats to Earth. It appears this will serve as a loose sequel, leaving the door open for cameos and connective tissue. And so while everybody's getting all upset, it is a possibility that they leave the door open and we can get Gillian Anderson and David Duchovny to pop in for a couple of episodes. They could do like little crossover episodes where Danielle Deadwyler's character and whoever the male agent is going to be happens to cross paths with them in some capacity. Who knows whether or not if they're still a part of the FBI or if one of them became like the head of the FBI or one of them is like retired and become like some crazy doomsday prepper or something. Who knows? And I would think like it would be so funny if they did it against type and made Dana Scully the doomsday prepper, like the real person that's kind of the hermit. That would be interesting. I'm not saying she got to be out here looking like Alice Cridge in um oh my god, what was the name of that video game where they would look Silent Hill? We ain't saying she got to be the old crazy lady with the gray hair in Silent Hill. We ain't saying she got to look like that, but um, she could be more like Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween. A doomsday prepper and somebody who got like shotguns and stuff and lives in a really extremely locked gated community. So, as far as like Chris Carter, who was the showrunner of the show, they said he will serve as a non-writing executive producer on the reboot. And some of the people from the previous series, Seb Ohanian and Zinzi Coogler, isn't that his wife? Seb Ohanian and Zinzi Coogler, his partners at their Proximity Media banner, are taking on the same role. So, Ryan is a fan. I'm looking forward to seeing this show whenever they put it together. And it's all about, and it's interesting. I find that I like that Hulu is just being like, you know what, we'll give you a pilot order. And if it goes well, then we'll see. Because here's the thing, what's going on with Buffy? Because remember, they shot a pilot too, and we haven't really heard anything regarding that series and what's going on with that. So I'm hoping things are going to work out with that show. Word on the curb is there, from what and this is from Demois, so take it with a grain of salt, that apparently they're trying to figure out how many episodes they want to do. I heard they want to do 18 episodes. The Chloe Zhao and them want to do 18 episodes. Hulu apparently want to do 8. I'm like, first of all, we can't do these 8 episode situations. Hell no. We need like fully fleshed out time to get to know these characters or whatever. So what on the curb is that they're settling around, and this is just a rumor, like I said, 13 episodes, which I think is the sweet spot. Do 13. Wasn't the first season of the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer on the WB? Wasn't that 13 before they moved on up and did like the 22 standard episode season, whatever? Because I believe that Buffy the Vampire Slayer was a mid-season replacement on the WB at the time. Like it premiered in thinking like January or something. And so they did like 13 episodes. They didn't do the full 22 season thing that we were accustomed to back in the day. So they're saying that they might go with 13, which I actually like that number. And they may start shooting. They want to broadcast it at the upfronts, which I believe is in May. They want to shoot the show in the summer, which is good because then in the summertime, kids is out of school. Y'all could probably use an actual school to shoot the scenes in, unless y'all want to actually build the sets. Which it seemed like the studios are being lazy and they don't want to build sets and things anymore. So unless you want to use an actual school and shoot in it and have the cameras and everything up in there, then we'll see if that's what they want to do. And the show will possibly premiere sometime in 2027, which I'm like, damn, we gotta wait that long. the thing. But anyway, so that I don't know. I would just think about that. So hopefully the X-Files thing works out. Hopefully it gets off the ground, just like I'm hoping and praying that we actually get to see Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So those are 2 shows that I'm looking forward to. And so I ask all of you, what do you guys think of this story? Are you excited for this X-Files loose sequel, reboot, whatever you want to call it, coming from Ryan Coogler? I like Ryan Coogler. I mean, I like all the movies he's done. I love Sinners. Love Fruitville Station, loved the two Black Panthers, loved the first one more than the second one. Second one had its issues, but I get it because of Chadwick Boseman dying and all the other stuff. So I understand he was stuck between a rock and a hard place, and he can only do what he could with that film because they lost their lead. So I'm not too hard on that, but um I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do with this show. I'm always look if you have an interesting idea and you can take something that was pre-existing and make it interesting and new and fresh and exciting, then I'm here for it, and we'll see. Because I just hope it don't end up like Ironheart. Because remember, you was a part of that show too, and that show was a chop. So let me know what y'all think of this story in the comments down below. Uh, his WSG was good. Did you hear Kim's song of the week? I did not hear the song. I was going to, but um I never got around to hearing the actual song or whatever the case is, but it is in my queue regarding, you know, hold on, let me see something. Okay, I figured it out. So hold on. Okay. Well, Onyx, I done gave you a gig. Your ass has been made the official moderator of today's show. So if y'all see something in in the chat, I figured it out. I went over and looked on the live on YouTube, and I figured out how to do the whole situation. So if you see anything up in here that when people coming up with like that one I just had to remove to my what's up the N word, idiot, don't start that mess. So if you see anything, you could hide them, put them in timeout, all that other stuff. You've been granted the wish. You're welcome. Okay, so anyway, speaking of N words and things, let's get back into the show. And let's talk about this mess that's going on with the BAFTAs because apparently, hold on. Yeah, let's get into this whole BAFTA thing because there's been more of a fallout in regards to the whole situation. So now we hear more tea coming out where Warner Brothers actually became aware of the situation and they demanded that the BBC remove it for the program after it happened. But what I don't get is how was it that 2 hours there was a 2 hour delay. And we went through this yesterday. It was a 2 hour delay. Y'all were able to find the energy to erase other things like the guy saying all kinds of different profanities. But he told somebody shut the fuck up, and then I heard he use the F word. Rhymes with maggot. Also, you and Free Palestine from another filmmaker who went on this because apparently I heard one of the people that run the BAFTAs is a Zionist. It doesn't come as a surprise because a lot of these people that are the head of these things are, Israel apologists and could care less about brown lives. So, meaning people from Palestine or the Congo or wherever else, where they have things and resources that a lot of the colonizers need to continue to financially benefit their pockets and their bottom line and their shareholders. So now there's some more tea that came out, and I was like, I was gagging over this, but I do like the fact that Warner Brothers was like had the balls to basically come out and defend the people at the studio. I mean their performers and say like, nah, this is not we not tolerating this, man. And this is why I don't want Paramount to get their hands on it, even though there's negotiations going on with Paramount and everything now. I don't want them to get their hands on it because we won't hear stories like this. They'll try to bury it, especially since the Ellisons they don't need Warner Brothers and all this other stuff, and they don't need Paramount. This is a vanity project. They have enough money to go around the last 8 lifetimes, and y'all want to buy this stuff because you want to control the media and censorship. So let's get into the story because this is from Variety. So, excuse me, Warner Brothers was quick to react following the BAFTA Film Awards N-word controversy on Sunday, but reportedly saw their concerns ignored. According to a well-positioned source, speaking of Variety, one Tourette's campaigner, John Davison, made the involuntary outburst while Sinners star Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo presented the first award of the night. Damn, y'all started out the gate with the nigga. I'm like, damn. Execs from the studio immediately raised the issue with BAFTA and requested that the incident be removed from BBC's time delayed broadcast going out later that night. The source also noted that Warner Brothers execs who were in contact with BAFTA throughout Sunday evening and met with them on Monday had been assured that the request had been passed on. Well, they didn't act fast enough because we all heard it. However, the broadcast aired with the racial slur not edited out, sparking further outrage and prompting an apology from BBC, only because they got caught. And then started that mess about if y'all was offended. Don't even get me started on that tirade that I went on yesterday. If y'all want to see it, it's up on the channel as an individual topic. But so they gave their half-ass statement. Warner Bros. Like, we told them, we tried to warn them about the situation, and then here they go coming up in here with the mess. And now they want to backpedal and all this other sort of Warner Bros. We heard about it, we were mortified, and we told them remove it. But how y'all forget to remove that, but you left everything else in? I mean, you left everything else out, but you left that in. And so they're not the Warner Bros. Was the only one mortified about the situation because apparently there was a BAFTA board member who ended up quitting because he was outraged by the whole situation. So this guy you see right here is a filmmaker by the name of Jonte Richardson. He's a judge for the BAFTA Awards, and he announced that he is withdrawing from the BAFTA Emerging Talent Judging Panel following the incident in London's Royal Festival Hall. Now, during the award, campaigner John Davison was heard, shouting the N-word and all this other stuff. Richardson did not hold back in his criticism. Excuse me, writing on LinkedIn, he said, per the Daily Mail, after considerable soul searching, I feel compelled to withdraw from the BAFTA Emerging Talent Judging Panel. He described the organization's response as utterly unforgivable and added, I cannot and will not contribute my time, energy, and expertise to an organization that has repeatedly failed to safeguard the dignity of its Black guests, members, and the Black creative community. Richardson also referenced BAFTA's long history of systemic racism and said remaining involved would feel like condoning its behavior. And I was about to say, because I was going to be like, you know what? Why stick around? I mean, why quit? Like, I feel like maybe you being there, you can make a change from within. But if you're the only one there fighting, and these people are just like, your concerns are going on deaf ears, then it's like you're a fish swimming upstream. And my thing is like, why waste the time or the energy? As I'm about to get into this clip that I'm gonna show y'all with Amanda Seals, let them crackers have their stuff. That's basically what we should do at this point, because it just goes to show, like, when so many people of color or just others, the others, and that's just the queers, the Black people, women, anybody that's not white and male. When y'all think at this point we've fought so hard to get where we are today, and we think, because I'm gonna use the word think, that because the reality is the reality. When we think that we've made progress in representation in media and on the big screen, the small screen, in writers' rooms, that sort of thing, the how creatively progressive we've become. And then you look back on this like, well, goddamn, I felt like we went 10 steps forward. Now we're going 18 steps back. Like, what was this all just for show? That's like when everybody goes, Oscar's so white and all this other stuff. And then they go the next year, they overcompensate because I see through the BS. And it's like, oh, yeah, we got to just give everybody stuff. Then we got to give participation trophies and all this other stuff. And then it's like, oh, see, we did the big one. We not racist like y'all claim. We not homophobic like y'all be saying. Pat us on the back. And then the next year, it's back to the same old cycle again, where we're doing the same thing, where they're going right backwards. Because we're like, oh, well, we did that. We gave you what you wanted that one time. And so you thought the once was enough? So it was performative, which is why I be side-eyeing a lot of these people in this industry, because I be like, they all fucking fake. So he basically said that, yeah, he's done. And then pointed out the long history of systemic racism. Well, I'm like, child, I need you to start talking a little more about what this systemic racism is. Because I'm like, I need more examples. Besides this one incident, it took a man with Tourette's for BAFTAs to be called out for the people exactly who they are. So they were just talking about how they were just raising a lot of concerns and stuff, and the people at the BAFTAs clearly don't care. And you could tell whoever wrote that in the teleprompter for Alan to read, talking about the if you were offended, oh, that motherfucker need to be fired. But, or let them keep their job. Y'all, all you little, you know, sit in your swill, you cesspool of ignorant ass racists. Y'all all belong together. So stay over there at the tired ass BAFTAs. And what I said at this point, what needs to happen, and I'm glad that I wasn't the only one that spoke on it, because when I tell y'all I'm gonna play to y'all this Amanda Seals thing, what she had to say, um, said, why do y'all continue to think or want to be in these rooms and get accepted from these people who, in all honesty, wouldn't spit on your ass if you was on fire? Let them have their tired ass, mediocre ass award shows. Whenever there was a situation, and it seemed like a lot of people have forgotten this, when there were times back in the day when they wouldn't allow black people to be on white shows or whatever the case was, we found the will and the coins to build our own. They did it with BET when MTV didn't want to see it for black folks until people like David Bowie and so many others called them out on their shit. Or people like Whitney Houston and Michael Jackson had to be so excellent in what they do, you couldn't deny them on your channel or your shows or programming, whatever you want to call it. And then when they did the same thing with American Bandstand, when y'all wouldn't allow black people to be on certain programs like that. Don Cornelius created Soul Train. So maybe we need to go back to that. And black people need to stop being out here tap dancing for these crackers and realize that, you know what, let's reconvene and work with each other and build our own stuff and stop trying to be accepted by them people that really don't see it for you. Because you see, at the end of the day, y'all sitting there talking about Delroy Lindo and Michael Bakari Jordan had to sit up there and just, oh, they were so graceful and elegant. And they just, you know, yeah, because black people of color, whenever they're continuously re-traumatized by white people and their tears and all that other shit that comes with it, we supposed to just sit down and take the abuse. But it's like their pain and their feelings are as valid as this guy that had the Tourette's moment. I totally understand his whole Tourette situation, and that um Tourette's is something that is incontrollable. That there are things that he's going to say that he can't control himself from saying. But at the end of the day, two things can be true at the same time. You know, it is possible that we could walk and chew gum. We can do that. I can pat my head and rub my stomach. I can do that. We can multitask. So I don't know why y'all sit up here and act like we can't. Two things can't be true. Whereas it's like, yes, we understand his condition, and as I said before, and I noticed people started bringing this up too. Now with these Tourette's type programs, aren't there tools and stuff that are put in place where you can try to prevent? I won't say like prevent the thing, because I don't. I think like I don't know. It could be possible that sometimes you can't control the outbursts and all this other stuff, but sometimes when you say certain things, aren't there tools that are put in place where it's like you can kind of reprogram yourself to not just be doing these crazy outbursts? Or, as I said before, you could have had him in a suite until it was time for his his nomination. And then, like y'all be doing with Beyonce, every time she had the Grammys, she only come out when she about to be they're about to acknowledge her award, and she about to win and got to get up on stage to get a speech. So y'all could have did that with him. Y'all gotta have his ass backstage, and when they were like, "Okay, your category about to come up, let's start bringing him out." and have him on the side or in a chair or whatever the case is. And when they do the presentation, he can get up there and set this award and take his ass back to the suite. There were so many things y'all could have did about it, but you wanted that man to sit in that room, and y'all felt y'all had to do a whole viewer discretion advised disclaimer like we watching a damn TV show. I mean, technically it is, but you know what I'm saying. Where you had to warn people of what this guy, his condition was, which means that when he started having his outbursts and we all shocked, like, what the fuck? I mean, you already warned us, but I'm like, what the fuck? And then I'm like, now I gotta sit here and tolerate this shit because he's got a disability. And when you say something about it, that I'm uncomfortable because this man is over here having these situations. He's saying some of the most vile, vulgar things. And I'm like, I don't want to have to, why do I have to endure this? I think this is the same argument that some people be having about parents when they bring children on situations where they got autism and they be kicking people chairs or whatever the case is, and it's like, you know, that kid, you know what they tics and stuff is, but why do I have to be subjected to your shit because that's something that you deal with on a day-to-day basis and you tired of dealing with that situation, so now we all got to be caught up in the group chat. Why do we always have to sit and take it from what other people are doing? Make that make sense. I totally understand whatever people's situations is, but you should also have that same energy on the other side and not just think about yourself and your situation. You should also have it for the other people, is what I'm saying. It ain't always got to be about you. And that's what I'm saying about Michael B. Jordan and Delroy. What about their feelings? Fuck they drag, right? So before I get, because there is another segment I want to do. I want to do the Google one, but I'm gonna do that separate. But before we get up out of here, I do want to play y'all this clip because I'm gonna wrap this up and then I'm gonna start the other thing as a separate, you know, situation. So let me go over here to the neighborhood talk and we gonna listen to what Miss Amanda had to say. Please hold.
Let them crackers be amongst themselves. I'll keep showing up to these racist ass places and expecting racism not to happen. Stop supporting this shit. Let them crackers be amongst themselves. You know, I don't know why we keep showing up to these places expecting respect. Okay, Kerbin, you had 3 strikes and you are out. You had nothing valid to say. You asked me twice about Dr. Umar and then asked would I consider dating a man younger than me. Go away. I just don't see the point. Why are you going to the Oscars, the BAFTAs, like Ryan Coogler, whose work I love and who I respect, is gonna go to the Grammy. Is gonna go to the Oscars. And his whole movie is about how assimilation is what. Let them crackers be amongst themselves. I'll keep showing.
So you're not gonna play the whole clip. Of course, they're gonna do certain things. And you wanna know something? I'm about sick of the neighborhood talk. They old tap dancing ass. It's like, yeah, I see the clip, but we do not condone hate speech. Well, what she said was hate speech. I guess the part where she said, "Let them crackers have their stuff." Oh, please, white people have said way worse. Well, hence Exhibit A, the guy that was at the situation, what he said. So now we gonna move the goalposts. Neighborhood talk. Y'all so tired with them old tired ass punks y'all got working over that channel. But anyway, so one person said, I agree, the disrespect and disregard, and they disrespect and disregard you. Why hasn't an award show been created that's literally for us, by us? There is an award for us, by us. It's called the NAACP Image Awards. There was another Black award show that I believe that, and I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. We talked about it on here, where I think that Sinners was nominated for like 26 awards or something or another. And then they also have the BET Awards, where they nominate not only just music, but they do film and sports and all that stuff. So, have you not been paying attention, Joshua? Where's the show? Where's the award show created that's literally for us, by us? This ain't FUBU, but we have those. Y'all just got to sit and support it. Another person said for 2026, we got to start knocking the Mario coins out of people because they getting too comfortable with the disrespect. Oh, I already said it's because the current idiot in the White House, they feel like they got a battery in their back that gives them permission to just talk any slick ass way they want to talk. And thinking there will be no repercussions. Y'all been seeing a lot of them videos where white people been coming out their mouth with stuff and getting their ass beat. Man beat up a man and his girl for being racist. Then I saw this video where I didn't know about, they call it Subway Queen or whatever. I didn't even know about this story until a guy posted about it on Instagram. And I posted it in my Instagram story. So if you need to go see it, definitely check it out. Chris Avalon 1 is the Instagram. And y'all can look for it in the description. All my social media handles is there. He went and posted a video about this woman that apparently this Latino guy sat next to her on the train and he accidentally hit her foot. She went and hit him, called them all kinds of slurs. Then there were some black kids, boys, and then there was some black girls that came to the guy's defense and was going in on the white girl. This bitch tried to pull the emergency brake on the train and they stopped her from doing it. I said, because if I would have fell, I'd have got up and I'd have drop kicked you with my Timbs on. I don't give a fuck. And then um as she's getting off the train, she waits till the door about to close and drops the N-word. And they try to open that door and get her ass. But she was lucky. But here's the thing. It'd be interesting to know because now they posted the video and stuff on social media. What is the outcome? What is the repercussion? Has she been fired? I mean, what has been the situation? I mean, they probably know somebody probably gonna be I don't know, I haven't checked since then, but somebody probably reveal where she lives. You know, y'all be out here doxing people whenever they come out their mouth and you want to get them. Like, get them, Jade. But yeah, so yeah, I'm sure there'll be a lot more that we'll be discussing regarding this story. Like, it's not gonna go anywhere anytime soon, I guess, until the next crazy situation comes up. But in the meantime, I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story regarding that? Look, the BAFTAs showed us who they truly are, and a lot of these award shows and these institutions are starting to really show their ass in the current environment in which we live in. And do you agree with Amanda that it's time to like Black folks need to stop? I mean, yeah, y'all get all the 29,000 nominations from these conglomerates, and y'all just so happy that we get to be in the room with the elites. But then they show you who they really are at the end of the day. It's like, oh no, we just tolerating your ass because we need the ratings. And which is what they use a lot of people of color and queer people for, because we are the movers and the shakers, gays and blacks. We are the movers and the shakers of the entertainment industry. We are the backbone of arts and creativity in the entertainment industry. And these basic ass people that work in corporate can't take it. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. So make sure I close that. Oh, I'm gonna get to y'all comments right after I do this other thing regarding the BAFTAs thing. So bear with me. All right, so let's get into our next story regarding the situation. And let's talk about this because now Google done show they behind too. I'm like, what the hell is going on? You know, this current multiverse that I'm living in, I am not here for it. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what these people just be bold with their mouths and stuff. But how you at Google of all people, y'all post an article and in the headline you have the actual word, the N word. It wasn't just the letter. It was the RGG, you know, and fill in the rest. So now they're apologizing because they got caught out there as well. So let me see if because I didn't even open it to see if it was there. Okay, I got it. So there was a guy by the name of Danny Price, who was an Instagram user, who took a screenshot of the notification and shared several photos to his page. The alert linked out to an article by the Hollywood Reporter, which had the headline, "How the Tourette's Fallout Unfolded at the BAFTA Film Awards." The notification then invited readers to see more on nigga. That's basically what it said. Alongside several slides showing the Google alert, Price wrote that the occurrence was absolutely fucked. What an interesting Black History Month this has turned out to be. It damn sure has been. And then the current idiot in the White House has the unmitigated gall to be given a damn State of the Union on Black History Month or during Black History Month. And that's tonight. I won't be watching that foolishness. I'll get the highlights, more of the political pundits that I watch. Now, a Google spokesperson, told Entertainment Weekly, "We're deeply sorry for the mistake. We removed the offensive notification and are working to prevent this from happening again." Now, of course, I want y'all to I'm gonna try to be quick with it because I got the Instagram where it was there. So yeah, it says, following N-word BAFTA incident, Google's AI engine generated a notification and sent it to 1 million users. And this is Danny Price's page. Well, he goes by Danny fucking Price. Yeah, so You see it. See more on Nuggles. Right up in here. How the Tourette's fallout unfolded. Like, who put that up in there? You fucking what? Google has been sending this out as a push notification. One of the largest companies in the world has been sending this out as a push notification and basically saying that it's fucked. And yeah, people in the comments were like, what an interesting black. Okay, so garbage. Hey, Shirley Manson and them put diabolical. Another person said BBC thrown John under the bus to hide Pandy and Mandy getting pulled in by the police, hate baiting black and disabled communities in a racism versus ableism grudge match. And another person said, this is why the Met Police using AI tools should be stopped. Another person said, people are so quick to defend John Davidson, even highlighting his BAFTA award, yet Kanye West has also struggled with mental illness and still canceled by the world. Research consistently indicates that the criminal justice system often moves more quickly to arrest, charge, and imprison Black individuals, raising deeper concerns about fairness and equal treatment, where was the world when Kanye West was openly dealt with mental illness issues was being canceled? Where is the humanity and empathy for Black people during his very public struggles? Well, I do agree with you on most of that, but the whole thing with Kanye a mess, and somebody got millions of dollars who could have, dealt with a lot of his mental situations. But I even said that yesterday when we talked about this. I said, okay, so we're gonna move the goalposts for this dude that has Tourette's, but does that mean that because Kanye said that he was, his anti-Semitism was due to the car accident, is all the forgiven there, or is it that it only pertains to we gonna punish Black folks? Because when you say something anti-Semitic, we already know whether it's calling out, and this is what I hate the argument of when people call out what Israel is doing as anti-Semitic when it's not. It's calling out y'all for doing the things that y'all been doing, which is a crime against humanity or just human beings altogether. That's not anti-Semitic. Anti-Semitic is going at someone based off of who they are. Meaning that, oh, I see a Jewish person, I'm gonna go beat them up because of who they are. That's anti-Semitic. That's anti-Semitic, not calling out the fact that you're an asshole. That's not the same thing. Or calling out you being a part of a genocide. So when we talk about this whole, and it's funny how I got to sit here and explain things and break it down, even though y'all know what it is, but y'all you say something out there, people don't want to deal with it because they don't want to they're non-confrontational. So automatically they cower in a corner or whatever the case is. It's like, I don't back down from no fight. That's not how my mother raised me. Well, my parents raised me, I should say. But in this situation, it's just like, the hell's going on at Google? These, child, I don't even know what to say on this because it's just like the fact that y'all just freely out here putting all kind of buffoonery, and they said this wasn't even AI. This was probably somebody that did that. Because they said the tech company shared that its systems recognize a euphemism for an offensive term on several web pages and accidentally used the offensive term in the notification text. We caught the mistake quickly and immediately removed it from people's devices. Only a very small subset of Google app users who get push notifications received it. This system error did not involve AI. Our safety filters did not properly trigger, which is what caused this. This is why I said, like, y'all so rely on all of this AI and technology and all these other things to do all the work for y'all because y'all don't want to pay people to do what needs to be done. And they got to be called out for y'all to automatically acknowledge the situation. Because y'all want bots to take over the world, whatever the case is. And look at what we in this type of situation. This is why I said having human beings working behind the scenes on things is essential. But y'all want to cut corners. You don't want to pay people a living wage. And this is where we end up. So, but yeah, we don't need to go into all the other stuff again, where how this all started, and then Hannah Beachler with her comment and how people responded. You're all aware of it by now. But this whole situation is crazy. I just feel like you companies, you corporations, y'all got to do better. And when they slip up and when they continue to not do better, we need more people like this guy and so many others to just call these corporations out on their shit. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? I definitely want to hear from you. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. My God, I just realized something. Can't end it because there was another clip that I wanted to play y'all. There was this video that I saw, so that's a false end. There was a clip that I saw from what the hell? Hope Giselle that I forgot to play for y'all, where she talks about the disability canceling racism and all that other stuff, or it doesn't cancel racism. And I was like, oh, this is a good one. I definitely want y'all to hear this. So hold on. We're gonna go to that clip. We're gonna come back and talk. Please hold.
Disabled white folks can still be racist and benefit from white supremacy. So let me come in real quick because I believe in empathy, but I also believe in pattern recognition. And at the BAFTAs, we watched a moment unfold that everybody keeps trying to wrap in softness. And listen, I do hold space for disability. I do understand that Tourette's exist. I do recognize involuntary tics are real. All of those things are facts. But I am also Black in America. So I don't get to receive racism in theory. I receive it in my nervous system. So when the N-word rings out while Michael B. and Delroy are standing on a global stage, I don't think that people are required to immediately reach for grace before their body remembers history. Two things can be true. We can have compassion for someone living with Tourette's, and we can also acknowledge that Black people experience racism so routinely that our first reaction isn't always curiosity, it's protection. Now, let me get a little spicy because this is the part that matters. White folks with disabilities still benefit from whiteness, even if they're struggling, unhoused, or dealing with medical conditions. I've seen racist homeless people, poor people, and I've even seen racist disabled people. So no, disability does not automatically cancel conditioning. And that doesn't mean that this moment was intentional, but it does mean that Black folks are allowed to side-eye it while holding nuance, especially right now. We are living in a moment where our rights are being legislated away, our bodies are being politicized, our existence is being debated on cable news, and our humanity is constantly up for review. So forgive us, right, if we don't immediately clutch our pearls at the intent versus impact argument. And what's really wild is that I see mountains of empathy for the person who said the word, but barely a whisper for the two Black men who had to swallow it live and keep pushing. They didn't make a scene, they didn't censor themselves, they finished the job because that's what we've learned to do. Restraint holds emotional labor because it's survival for most of us. And that deserves grace too. Because accountability does not erase compassion, and compassion does not erase harm. And nuance doesn't mean that Black people have to be quiet about discomfort. So yes, educate people about Tourette's. We should know. But don't gaslight Black folks about feeling something when racism walks into the room uninvited. Because the truth also deserves the same oxygen that y'all give to people that we don't understand. And until y'all understand and reckon with that, I'll wait. Disabled white.
You know, she always says at the end of her thing, I'll wait. I guess that's her thing. But yeah, so now we done because I want y'all to hear that clip. I almost forgot. It was like I've been having so many things open. I was like, oh, wait a minute, didn't I have another video? But anyway, so yeah, I definitely want to hear from y'all regarding this whole situation. Definitely, I want to hear from you. So let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. So they stupid. That's why they didn't remove it. Because they're dumb. He said the whole BAFTA production team that allowed us to air should apologize. They allowed it to air with a 2-hour delay. No excuse. Exactly. Because I'm like, understandable was like 2 minutes or 30 or 90 seconds or 30 seconds. Because, you know, they be having them those short delays and stuff. But they catch them in America. They quick on that button. But 2 hours? Like, what was y'all doing? Y'all was getting high? Y'all was drinking? Like, what was y'all doing? 2 hours. T.I. Tap 50 said, what's better than celebrating your mama's birthday and your grandma's birthday? Even King said 50 finally found his match. I mean, no shade, but I just find this whole beef between them is corny. I don't find it all that exciting. I mean, if it gets drastic to a point where I can't ignore it, then I'll talk about it. But I'm just like, this whole back and forth with 50 trolling, like, don't nobody care about his old big back ass. Unfortunately, we Black folks have taught them that there are no consequences to them disrespecting us. Absolutely. And they continue to get away with it because you have people in place that allow it. And it's that whole Trumpian thing. And that's why people keep voting because they feel like they're getting mad because we gotta watch, we gotta evolve and pronouns and all these other things. Everybody, it's like, so respecting people is a problem. that if people say, "This is who I am, can you respect me on this thing?" That's a problem for you because it's something different and something you're not used to experiencing or dealing with. So now you're uncomfortable because you have to actually be kind or nice to someone. If somebody says that this is how you should address me, address them as that. It's not that hard. Don't even get me started on that foolishness that Gavin Newsom was talking about that Democrats need to stop do with the. I said, "Oh, we still on that? Y'all still thinking that the reason why y'all lost is because y'all went on a whole pronoun situation, which Kamala Harris didn't even mention nobody's damn pronouns during her campaign. But this is what y'all keep thinking." I was like, "No, sir, that ain't it. Try again." Maybe the actor Davidson shouldn't apologize for his neurological disorder. Yeah, nobody's saying he got to apologize for his neurological disorder. We understand what the situation is, that Tourette's is something that you can't help, that you end up saying all kinds of stuff, which is why the movie is called I Swear, because I'm thinking it has to do with him using a lot of derogatory words and profanity. And maybe the reason why that movie got a lot of awards, I mean, nominations or whatever over in the UK, I guess, because I didn't hear it getting any kind of nominations in the US. I didn't even hear this movie until all of this drama started going about. So maybe the reason why they're all for it is low key, it's the disability part, because, we all have to be all inclusive, which is what we want. But also the fact that he says unfiltered, crazy things that back in the day, it wasn't seen as cringe, but now we're holding people accountable for a lot of the derogatory thing. We're saying, like, yeah, you saying these type of words and certain things, it's like, it's not okay. And it's not comedy. So maybe that's why they're, low key all for this movie. Yeah, because I'm trying to wonder, what is that? Like, what kind of Tourette's has he got that he just be saying some of the nastiest things to people? Shut the fuck up. Like that's a thing. I was like, who are you supposed to be? Cartman? Remember that episode of South Park when Cartman got Tourette's? He was like, there's a documentary about Ed Sullivan show called Sunday Best. Well, Sunday Best. That was also a show that Kim Burrell was on with that old femme queen. What's her name? Donnie McClurkin. Remember that show? It was a mainly focus and the other queen, um, the short one. Damn, I can't remember his name. Well, you said, but they mainly focus on the black artists he had on there. Keep someone like exactly. That's why I said keep his ass backstage. But some people, but why he gotta say? I said, well, why I gotta be uncomfortable with his comfortableness? Just like a lot of y'all, a lot of these other people don't like being uncomfortable about things, and we remind them about the history of racism, which that shouldn't make you uncomfortable because if you're not racist, it wouldn't affect you. Apollonia Cruz is in the building. Shit, or medication. Maybe he's on medication. Who knows? When they bring babies, toddlers to a movie theater. Oh that's definitely something I can't stand. And I've seen people do that. That's why I always now when I go to the movies, I go to the theater Friday morning while y'all are at work and school. So that way I don't have to deal with a lot of the noise or whatever the case is. And unruly babies and all that other stuff. So I make sure to go early in the morning. Weekends I don't really go. But luckily so far a lot of the theaters I've been going to, people have been well behaved. They were saying, yo, fuck the queen when he met her, but he let the queen and everyone involved know about the situation. He handled it responsibly. Before he could have done it again, you said there's a channel I watch called The Reckoning, which gives updates on public freak. You said Subway Queen. I would need to watch this now. Conservatives are getting too comfortable. Yeah, there's a whole thing I saw on Instagram where there was guy was posted a video about the Subway Queen. Everyone says, I mean, everyone always asks how hot is Michael B. Jordan, but nobody asks how is Michael B. Jordan. Has he made? I think he did. Hold on. I think he did make a statement. Let me check and see, because somebody said, I'm like, really? Um, Okay, so I don't think he did say. They say he reacted, but they're showing the clips of his face. Also, so a facial expression, that's a reaction. Yeah, that's a definite reaction. That's a real reaction. But he hasn't said anything. Jamie Foxx, Wendell Pierce, there's a bunch of other celebrities that have spoken out. Delroy Lindo spoke out. I don't think Michael has spoken out. But we're still on this whole awards thing going on. From what we was mentioned, the SAG Awards is this week. And then there's another award show that's coming up before the Oscars. So I'm sure around that time when he get on the red carpet, they'll ask him. Because if he get up on there, they be like, don't ask Michael B. Jordan about this thing. I'm like, okay, now you're a little too Hollywood. Because that's the big elephant in the room. We can't ask you about it. That sounds like Roseanne blaming Ambien. Isn't that what a lot of them do? These people out here move the whole goalpost, saying some crazy stuff as a way for, and blame it on certain drugs or whatever the case was. Nobody's asking him to apologize for his disability. Not every tick is being discussed. The tick that parallels racism is, and all people are saying is, if you care about racism, you would. Yeah, because it definitely sounded like it was like, oh, I was mortified, but it wasn't a real apology. You just try to blame it off on your situation. But even if you have those type of words and stuff, like where was you learning that stuff from? Where'd you learn the N word from? Where'd you learn like shut the fuck like that's what you're saying to people? I just don't get that part. But anyway, we got more racist tea to get into because now we're gonna go from the racist world of movies to the racist world of music. Because apparently, this manufactured girl group by the name of KATSEYE, one of the members left, and they said it had to do with, I think she's part of Hybe. Isn't that Scooter Braun's situation? Hybe. But anyway, KATSEYE is a part of that. I believe they were nominated for a Grammy last month, but if I'm not mistaken, I don't think they won. They didn't win. But anyway, so yeah. So things are tense between the group right now, and one of the girls, Manon, I think that's how you say it, Manon or Manon. I'm thinking Manon from the god that Firuza Balk was praying to in The Craft. That's what I'll be thinking about when I hear that name. But anyway, so I'm gonna just call her Manon. So apparently she done left the group. They were saying that it had to do with her being sick. She said she's not sick because she got on social media, which got people, the fans, debating whether or not there's some racist stuff going on. So one of the most popular girl groups is embroiled in a racism scandal. This is why girl groups can't last long. KATSEYE announced on Friday that member Manon Bannerman was taking a temporary hiatus from the chart-topping group to focus on her health and well-being. Her exodus sparked a firestorm among the group's fiercely loyal fandom, with countless fans crying racism, while a growing number of music superstars have thrown their support behind Bannerman. The drama went into overdrive after Bannerman, who's 23, liked an Instagram post from pop culture commentator Simply Simone, who claimed that Bannerman was the victim of abhorrent hate due to her race. The post also said that Black members of mixed race girl groups are often victims of racism. Bannerman is Ghanaian on her father's side and Swiss Italian on her mother's side. Well, that's a cute combination. They said she's the only Black member of KATSEYE, which is described as a global girl group featuring members from across the world, including the Philippines, South Korea, and India. Bannerman also fueled the fire by contradicting her record label Hybe's public statement about her hiatus. While the label said that Bannerman was going on hiatus to focus on her health, the singer herself took the social media app Weverse to insist that she was fine. She said, I want you to know that I want you to hear this from me. I'm healthy, I'm okay, and I'm taking care of myself. That's what she wrote to her fans. Thank you for checking in. Sometimes things unfold in ways we don't fully understand, but I'm trusting the bigger picture. Thank you for standing by me. I love you endlessly and can't wait to see you again. Now, a handful of celebrities have thrown their support behind Bannerman, including R&B singers SZA and Chloe Bailey, Fifth Harmony's Normani, Little Mix's Leanne Pinnock, and Pussycat Dolls' Melody Thornton, who are the only Black members of their respective girl groups, have also backed Bannerman on social media, which goes to show that they're saying this is a tale as old as time, the amount of racism and the vitriol and the hate that they had to deal with when they were part of a group. And it's like, what happened to the days where we could just enjoy a good song, a good group, the whatever the product is that these record labels or whatever put together. And we just like it for what it is. But y'all gotta come out here with y'all hate and y'all vitriol and going in and just spewing all kinds of racist bullshit on this girl. And quiet as it's kept, I find it funny that y'all out here being racist when K-pop is derivative of Black music. So, but the fact that y'all put some fluorescent beige people or some Asians at the forefront, I guess it's an easier pill for a lot of y'all to swallow. But y'all can't take it when it's somebody of color is at the forefront. And another quiet thing that is kept, I can't tell none of these damn girls apart. So KATSEYE, they've had some cute little songs. They use a lot of urban verbiage in their lyrics or whatever the case is. So I don't understand how y'all could be so damn racist towards a group when, like I said, a lot of what the music is derivative of Black music. So, they said, meanwhile, KATSEYE fans have been arguing on social media about racism in the group, with some defending Manon, while others are claiming that other members of the multiracial group are also victims of racism, including Laura Raj, who is of Indian descent. Hold on, because I done went down too far. They said, it's about time we have a serious conversation about how some of y'all continue to treat Black women in girl groups. Singling out the only Black girl of the group is not a good look. The racism is showing. The fans are not going to let this slide, wrote another. Because remember, when it came to Fifth Harmony, remember how they were talking about the amount of racism that Normani was facing when she was a part of the group, that a lot of you tight-ass fans will go and want to take pictures with Camilla and all the other girls. But when it came down to Normani, y'all would pay her dust. And come out, and no shade, Normani was the prettiest and baddest one out of all of them girls in there. It's just unfortunate now that she's not hungry for music success like she was when she was in Fifth Harmony. Because the solo stuff is like, what's going on with that? I saw a recent video of her performing with her two backup dancers at some event, and there was, I guess, some audio issues or whatever the case was. And she said into the mic, y'all just don't want me to be great. So somebody back there sabotaging her. Me, sis, you gonna have to get gully like Beyonce with the bitch. Y'all gonna stop messing up my inner ear sounds or whatever the case is. Y'all gotta stop messing like effing with me and stuff. Make sure it's all together. And stop playing with me and trying to make me look like a fool on this damn stage. So there's also said it's not a competition, of course, but Laura does bear the brunt of colorism in KATSEYE as the darkest member of the group, darker than Manon, wrote a third. It's also possible to deny the virulent racism directed towards Indians online. I wouldn't be surprised if Laura needed a mental break of her own. A fourth fan, who appeared to be referencing the girls' reality show, wrote, Manon is just a lazy, untalented mess. Get over it. Well, for those of you out there saying that whether you like the music or not, I watch how KATSEYE perform. Those girls perform their ass off. And if you're going to get up there and say somebody is a lazy, untalented mess, I like for you to get your fat ass up on that stage and do what these girls do. Sing, dance at the same time and stay on beat and perform for 2 hours. I want to see you lazy motherfuckers that be all, running over with your mouths, be able to do what these girls and some of these other artists out here do. Don't get me wrong, there are some of these current generation pop stars who are relatively lazy and be giving y'all 25% when they need to be giving you 110 when they get up there on that stage. Or when y'all sit up in here and simp so hard for these mid-ass white girl pop stars, Addison Rae, but or is she Latino? Because I heard her parents are going through a divorce, and her father got a Latino Spanish last name Lopez. So, but they are white Hispanics. So I guess I'm gonna stick with what I said. So when you up in here giving bare minimum or whatever the case is, and y'all want to pass mediocrity off as fierceness, it's like y'all need y'all eyes checked. So yeah, so they're saying that Daily Mail, which I got this article from, has contacted KATSEYE's record label and Manon for comment. Now, KATSEYE will form through a reality TV competition show the debut Dream Academy by South Korean record label Hybe and American label Geffen Records. Well, I ain't never heard of it, but like they said, it's a South Korean show, so clearly the show must have aired over there. Now, the group was created by as a global version of a K-pop girl group using a similar training system and style of music, but casting international members who could speak English and appeal to various demographics and regions. 6 members ultimately made it into the lineup. Filipino Sofia La Forteza, who's 23, South Korean Yoon Chae Jung, who's 18, Chinese Singaporean American. Well, damn, there's a lot of mixes up in her. Chinese Singaporean American Megan Skindale, who's 20, and Cuban Venezuelan American Daniela Avanzini, who's 21, along with Indian American Raj, who's 20, and Swiss Ghanaian Bannerman. And they said while all the members boasted a background in either singing or dancing before joining KATSEYE, Bannerman had only worked as a model. As a result, she was often ranked last by the show's judges as the other members were more experienced on stage. So maybe that's why the girls calling her lazy, because it's like, yeah, you a model. Girl, don't tell me you was out here performing like Cassie back in the day. Because remember, Cassie was a model who they were trying to make into a pop star, and then we heard them vocals. And the Diddy stuff aside, we got to talk about the talent. And Cassie was a pretty girl, but the voice wasn't there. And she was a little mid with the dancing. So if Bannerman is one of those girls that's just a pretty face, but you're not really putting in the work to be a pop star, then girl, that's on you. But the racism is uncalled for. See, 2 things I already said in this show, and I'm gonna keep saying it throughout some of these topics. 2 things can be true. You can experience racism and call it out, but also, I know you're not up there just being a lazy performer. So they said she was also accused of regularly missing practice and rehearsals, which was a storyline on the group's Netflix reality series Pop Star Academy, KATSEYE. So if you're not putting in the work, sis, you definitely need to be called out for that. But like I said before, and they only been around for 2 years. I'm like, damn, 2 years in, and this is what y'all dealing with. But look, this is why I always said, like, when it comes to these girl groups, it always seems to me like a lot. If y'all notice, a lot of these girl groups don't really last. They don't last beyond like maybe 2 albums. It's like after 2 or 3 albums. I think who was the longest girl group that had the most records? It might have been Destiny's Child. Because it's like y'all, some of y'all can't make it past the 2 or maybe 3 albums tops situation. Danity Kane only put out 2 albums. Or do we gotta go way back like the Supremes? How many albums the Supremes put out? But I'm talking about this current generation that I was alive to actually witness. It's like Destiny Child, I think, put out like 4 albums. TLC, I think, put out 3 albums before Left Eye passed away. Because it was on the TLC tip. Then it was Crazy Sexy Cool, and then we got Fan Mail. Fan Mail was the last album that we got before Left Eye passed. Fifth Harmony, I think, put out 2 albums. How many did Little Mix put out? Well, look, the Spice Girls put out a couple of albums. They put out like 4, right? Forever was like their 4th album. So maybe I think it might be a tie between Destiny's Child and the Spice Girls. But yeah, how many did Girls Aloud put out? Look at me sitting here thinking about all the girl groups. But yeah, it's unfortunate that and Pussycat Dolls only put out 2 albums. So yeah, so it's unfortunate when these girls have to do with this. Hopefully they work it out and Manon comes back and really puts in the work into the group. But look, I always wonder, because it's 6 of y'all, how do y'all split that money? Because these record labels be ripping them off. But yeah, so that's basically the latest on this right now. I'll definitely be looking into this story as it develops. I remember they did come to the Garden to perform, but they was in the theater because they're not selling out no arena. They use the theater, which seats 3,000 people. And I didn't get to work that show, so I don't know how many of the kids was in there that went and bought tickets and how the show was. I need to find out from one of my coworkers if they worked it. How was it? Because they give a lot of the OGs that been there for like 30 damn years, they get all the theater shows usually. So yeah, I'll definitely hear from y'all. I would definitely want to hear from y'all regarding this. Let me know what your thoughts are on this KATSEYE story in the comments down below. Mm-mm. Nicki Minaj blocked our favorite fruity gay Matt. Matt who? Cullen? But that what you talking about? You talking about Sloan man? I'm like, what he do? Oh, which Matt you talking about? Not I invoked it. Oh, because I said Manon from the craft. He said Matt be looking the fool, so him talking about hair, makeup, and outfits is silly, even if he was right in his assessment. Wait, y'all gotta remind me, who is this Matt y'all told about? Look, I'm having a brain fart. You know, I'll be talking about so many people. I'll be like, who's this Matt? Let me know in the chat. My biggest problem with KATSEYE, and of course, and a lot of Korean acts in general, is that they have no soul behind their eyes. It's just a bunch of men. Exactly. That's why we talk about the whole manufactured thing, which is why I had to laugh when at the Grammys for Best New Artist, these tied ass super fans had the nerve to come for Olivia Dean because she won the Grammy and they favorite manufactured artists like Addison Rae and KATSEYE didn't win. It's like, yeah, y'all be giving the Britney isms, but at the end of the day, the Grammys is about talent. And I'm not saying that these girls aren't talented, but Olivia Dean writes her own music. She plays instruments and she's a great live performer. So because y'all want somebody to do an 8 count and whip their hair back and forth like they Willow Smith, I mean, that's not enough to get you a Grammy. And it's no shade. Even artists that are seen as authentic have people behind them that are profiting. KATSEYE just don't have the music. Well, that too. And that's the thing too. It's like they're cute or whatever, but you need, where are the Svengalis? And I'm talking about Svengalis like, where's the Max Martins of the world? Where is the Dark Childs? Where, I was gonna say, where's the R. Kelly? He in jail. But where's, where are the artists or the people that really knew how to write a pop song with a hook and a bridge? We ain't talking about something that's 2.5 minutes. I'm talking a real pop song, and they give it to these girls, and they get up in there and they really give them. Like when we looked at making the band, and we got Danity Kane, they had bops. Yeah, they was up in there rehearsing and all those other stuff. When you look at Pussycat Dolls, they had the bops too. I mean, yeah, Nicole was helping writing a lot of those songs, but they worked with the best of the best, and they was up in the studio rehearsing. My generation, I think we are like the peak of like really getting in there and taking the time to perform and perfect the craft and all this stuff. They're not teaching that no more. Y'all going to some damn school to learn how to be a pop star and thinking that y'all can sell some mediocre ass song because a bunch of pretty girls up there, you know, doing an 8 count, and that's supposed to be enough. It's like, no, you got to give me personality. It's kind of like what Onyx said. Y'all be looking dead behind the eyes, probably because y'all be thinking about them 8 hour shifts that y'all be doing in the rehearsal hall, remembering that choreography. So y'all, there's nothing there. An empty vessel. Normani was an angel that got her wings chopped off by not race. Wait, who's that? Ray Sheesh? Mind you, incel men would rank Camilla as the least conventionally. Is it because she had a big head and she had a body shaped like a boy? Is that why people was looking at Camilla? Because yeah, Camilla do got that boy shape. You said they were nominated for Best New Artist and lost to Olivia Dean. Mm-hmm. And the fans was mad about it. They started going in on Olivia Dean. I'm like, it's not her fault that she won. But y'all, like, some of y'all just need to not have access to a phone. Because the way y'all just be thinking that y'all could just get online and say whatever without no repercussion. It's funny how colorism seems to get more focused than racism as it pertains to a darker skinned Indian and a lighter black girl. I wonder why that's not the case typically. Um, yeah. Because I do feel like it is a colorism thing. I know they were trying to say racism, but it definitely is like colorism. But then again, you had a girl that was darker skinned and a girl that was light skinned that were both getting it. So um it's a mixture, I guess. I don't know. I got to really think about that. For those running KATSEYE, while the light variety was likely a marketing ploy for diversity, so Manon's proximity to blackness is probably a constant reminder of their cultural appropriation. And they're already culturally appropriating the music of black people. Tom Welling was a model turned actor, but he clearly was not made for anything else besides being a young Clark. You know what? But that's an unfortunate thing that when it comes to that's why I'm like playing somebody like Superman is a blessing and a curse because it's like you look the part of playing a Superman, but it's like, what are they able to transition into other things outside of that? Dean Cain career went down the toilet after Lois and Clark was canceled, but then again, he was also an asshole. Um, Christopher Reeve, I know he popped in other things out besides Superman movies, but but then again, he did pass away. He had the horse riding accident, and also I think when he stepped to other things, I don't know if people saw him as anything else but Superman. Um, Tom Welling hasn't really had, like you ever stated, didn't really have a career beyond uh s- uh, um Smallville. I mean, he did pop in and did little movies here and there, but it was um Smallville that got, that pretty much catapulted him to the success that he had. I mean, can we say Henry Cavill might be the only one so far that has been able to transition and do other things? I mean, yeah, the box office numbers ain't been doing what need to be done, but he's been able to go off and do other movies. I mean, right now he's shooting Highlander. Hopefully that movie does well because, you got Chad Stahelski, who directed all the 4 John Wick movies, is directing that. So hopefully he's going to be able to kind of come out of that and come into a new franchise. But it's like, yeah, and David Corenswell, I know he's supposed to be shooting another movie, but he might be another one that people can't look beyond as Superman. So it's like, yeah. And yeah, Whitney Houston was a model, but she had them pipes too. And so people, with her being such an amazing singer, people forgot all about the model thing. That hasn't been held against her. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Supremes was a different time. So I can't compare. That's what I was like, I'm gonna just stick to artists that were around when I was alive. Because Supremes is my parents' generation. So um I'm gonna just stick to Destiny's Child and Pussycat Dolls and TLC and all of them. Did they? They probably did. Because I thought it was only two. I thought it was that first album, which had Don't You on it. I think this if the album was self-titled, and then Doll Domination was the second. And I think it was supposed to come out with another one, which ended up being Nicole's solo album because they broke up around the time. Her name is Nicole. That's what that album became, and that flopped. But they had some bops on it. That was a good damn album. Thomas still, yeah, he is handsome. I ain't said he was ugly. I was like, Tom Welling can still get it, even with them grays up in his hair. So you said, love me some Tom Welling and do. Wait, hold on. Now I gotta sit and break the fourth wall and look at my phone. I'll tell what you wrote. He said, "Hey Chris, you want to watch The Devil Wears Prada 2 together when it comes out, and don't say you're not that gay." Well, I wasn't going to say that because I am going to go to the movie to see The Devil Wears Prada 2. I just said that about Wicked, but yeah, I'm definitely going to go see The Devil Wears Prada when that comes out because I like the first one, and the second one looks pretty good. So yeah, he said, "Hey everyone, sending love for work." I mean, don't y'all? Isn't that something that be on your mind? How do they split the money? Because I'm like, it's 6 of y'all. They ain't gonna split that because it's like you got to pay all the people that work behind the scenes before you even get a piece of whatever's left. So them bros is running around here broke. Girls Allowed have 5 seems what happened when with Jerry Hollowell. Her father died, and because they had no time to reschedule the shows, Jerry had to miss the Feud. Melanie C basically thinks that the second album should have been 1998 movie and tour of 1999. Basically, see, I knew if I put that Spice Girls comment that Robert was gonna come back with the because he's a big Spice Girls fan. So I was like, I ain't got to do the work. I'm gonna let y'all do. I'll be doing enough research on this show. When y'all be helping me out, my co-host, my studio audience. Um, it definitely helps. Cat's Eye music is cute and nice to dance to, and there's potential, but unfortunately, many of the craft in the industry wants microwavable pop stars because absolutely it's easier to produce. Scooter Braun basically said he told Max Martin to retire. You're child by. First of all, Max Martin's still out here doing what he do. How you gonna tell somebody to retire? I do wonder if Madonna has used some of the songs that she worked with Max Martin on this new album. And that's done. We definitely need writers. But I'm thinking at this point, child, everybody's gonna be out here using Chat GPT to write their songs. Because my thing is like, I don't mind using that, like Chat GPT to help me write a script or a song, whatever the case is. I'll just go in and I'll use it as a tool, but I will go in and just fine tune it. But like, I want to make it sound more like what I would say. So I'm gonna just take some of that out, put some in there. You have to have that kind of gift. There's some people that just be like, I'm gonna just cheat and use the whole thing and then get a songwriting credit. That I don't like. I'm like, use it as a tool. Tom did do roles outside of Smallville. Yeah, it was. That's what I said. It wasn't just as popular. He did that horrible ass remake of The Fog. Don't even get me started on that one. And I love the original Fog with what the hell is it? With John Carpenter. Shit, I might damn. I hate bringing up movies because then I'll be in the mood to watch them. Someone said a 20-something told Diane Warren to retire because nobody would work with a girl who can write complete songs. No need for you anymore. World is Diane has been angry that she isn't allowed to work anymore. That is so dumb because my thing would be like, and that's why I think it's gonna have to take a major A-list caliber type of artist to be like, no, I want Diane Warren or Ryan Tedder or somebody to write me a song. Because we definitely need songwriters back. He was recently in Lucifer, but I believe he didn't want to do acting now that he's mostly doing farm and family. And he does a podcast with Michael Rosenbaum. Like what is it called? Watchville or something or another. Where they watch episodes of Smallville and they do a podcast wrapped around it. There's such thing as a Superman curse. Perhaps David Cornsweat should be worried. I just wish Tom Fine the best, and I know he wanted Clark to give up Superman for the revival. Yeah, that's what I've been worrying about. Don't you got to worry about that curse? Yeah, but the Chicks have 8 albums, but when I look at the Chicks, I don't consider them a girl group. I mean, in the technical sense, because yeah, they're girls and they're a group, like a group of people is more than two, or more than one. But see them as more like a band because they play instruments and they write their songs and stuff. So I see them different. I don't when I think girl group, I think like singing and dancing, and there's a bunch of girls where they doing a lot of up tempo music. I don't put them in the same category. I don't know. I look at the Chicks as more like a maybe I'm old school with it, but just like a legitimate band type. I can't believe they pulled Her Name Is Nicole off the show. Did they? Isn't that available on? Well, I think you can listen to it on Apple Music. Hold on, let me look it up. 'Cause that was a good damn album. Justice for Her Name Was Nicole. Let me see. I hate this new setup from wait, it's not coming up. Hold on. Let me see. Nicole shits on a nigga. That name need to come up. That's not her name. That's what I be calling her. Nicole Scherzinger. Well, we got Sunset Boulevard, Big Fat Lie, Killer Love, Point. How they release? How they just get rid of that album? What kind of shit is this? See, this is what I don't like about this type of. Yeah, this is what I don't like about Apple Music and all the other stuff because they take songs off. It's like whole albums. Like you be in the mood and want to listen to an album and they remove it. I'm like, who told y'all to do that? I'm sure there's a way that you can get it out there on eBay or something. It's a mess. Poor Glenn Powell. He needs to do romantic comedies. Well, yeah, because Glenn Powell's been picking a lot of horrible ass movies. I mean, I liked him and that booty. because he does show it in The Running Man. But none of y'all went to go see it. I saw it in the movies. I like the first half. Once it gets to like the third act, it got dumb. It took me out. It felt like two different movies. I didn't see this new movie that came out, and neither did the rest, millions of other people. So I'm not that assed out about it. And I've been seeing as the cast of Scream 7 has been heavily promoting this movie. Nev, I believe, well, I don't know if she still is, but she's been in New York. She did The View today. She did CBS this morning with Gail and that wig. She did she's been in a couple of shows. They also explained that because I'm like, wait a minute, did they age the daughter? No, apparently Nev. Sidney Prescott got 3 kids in this damn movie. So the oldest is Tatum, but she got 3 kids in this movie. So I'm like, okay, it makes sense because they did show her with the stroller. And I'm like, what they do? Age the kids? No, she had another daughter. Y'all just didn't see her. They said, if you want the writing to sound more like you, why would you use ChatGPT to help you? It's like, look, my thing is if you get writer's block, and I don't necessarily say like ChatGPT, but I say AI. If you want to use any kind of AI to help assist you with writer's block or whatever the case is, if you need something as an assistant, I'm not gonna hold it against people who want to use that, but don't sit and abuse the situation. Maybe ChatGPT is not the best thing, but I guess we can move on because it was like I got through all the comments. Now let's get into some more tea. And let's talk about Tyra Banks. So we can take a break from going and giving her the lashing over there with the whole top model situation. Although I will say this, if you want to see the episode of the Jays and Nigel Barker, the full interview of them on Sherry Shepherd, it came out today. I did watch it. And it was a relatively good interview. I do feel like they were trying to throw Tyra under the bus in a lot of ways, but not really. It just felt like in certain situations they were. And we'll get into that. Maybe I should have saved that for when we get to the Kelly Cutrone story. But I'll probably repeat it again. But nevertheless, it was a good interview. I just felt like, and I'll give my opinion on how I felt about the whole Sherry thing once we get to that one. But so while she's getting the lashes for the people and saying we don't want to do top model, all this other stuff, and she didn't take accountability for certain things that she was saying in regards to that, what she is trying to do is get $50,000 from this lawsuit that she's got going on with I think it was like a business partner or something because she was trying to rent a building out or whatever the case was. And there was some drama that happened with that. And now she's just like, I'm not getting caught up in this mess. So, yeah, let's get into the story. So, the legal drama between the model and her former landlord began on October 2025 when a man named Christopher Powell sued her and longtime partner Louis Bellinger Martin. At the time, Tyra Banks did everything within her power to dismiss the case, even accusing the building owner of extortion. Now she wants Christopher Powell to pay the price for daring to sue her in the first place. According to new reports, Banks is seeking more than $50,000 in sanctions from Powell after he tried to drag her to court. She accused him of attempting a celebrity shakedown with the lawsuit, noting his past demands for an excess of $2.8 million in damages were outrageous. Now, the legal documents, reported, of course, by TMZ, saw Banks imploring the court to send a warning to Powell through sanctions. She argued that he deserved to be punished for making her defend herself in the first place with his bogus lawsuit. Okay, now this is starting to sound like, okay, Tyra, is this the real Tyra that Jay Manuel and them was talking about over there? Because like, how dare you sue me? It's like, girl, you're not beyond reproach. Even if you, you know, whether he is in the wrong about whatever this situation, and if it's a reach or a stretch or whatever the case is, I'm gonna make you pay because you're trying to put me in a bogus lawsuit. Nobody likes going to court. Nobody likes having to be dealing with lawsuits. It's just like have your lawyers deal with it and call it a day. But the whole thing, I'm gonna make you pay because how dare you inconvenience me into getting caught up in a lawsuit. Get your coins. If you want to sit and play with you, and waste your time? What are you doing besides sitting up in Australia during the summer raising a baby and giving people hot ass ice cream? Now, Banks' filing comes months after Powell willingly dismissed the case back in December of 2025. The drama between the pair stemmed from the model's botched attempt to open a branch of her ice cream company, Smize and Dream, inside Powell's building in D.C. The Blast covered the lawsuit drama, reporting that Powell had demanded in excess of $2.8 million in damages from Banks and her longtime partner, Bellinger Martin. The building owner sued the pair for breach of contract, arguing that he lost thousands of dollars because of them. Oh, yeah, we did cover this on the show a while ago. Now, it might have been in December. Now, according to Powell, Banks and her partner had signed a 10-year commercial lease for a spot in his building to open a branch of the model's ice cream company. The spot was meant to serve as an ice cream shop and a learning center for the undeserved youth in Washington. They signed the agreement in April of 2024, with Powell claiming that he immediately met with architects and designers, receiving various machines and supplies to meet Banks's demands. However, she backed out of the deal in June of 2024 without a tangible reason and refused to uphold the lease. Now, they said Powell noted that he lost thousands of dollars fixing the spot and getting supplies to facilitate the opening of the ice cream shop, yet she and her partner did not fulfill their end of the bargain. Powell believed they would at least uphold the lease and sublet the building, but the pair wanted to exit without making any payments. Now, Banks argued that she and Bellinger Martin backed out of the contract because Powell had promised them the entire building. However, he refuted those claims with evidence. Next, the media personality filed another motion accusing Powell of extortion. Now, on the other hand, Powell argued that Banks and Bellinger Martin had fabricated grievances to justify the breach of contract. Additionally, he accused Banks of weaponizing her celebrity influence to stop him from filing a lawsuit against her. Well, I say this before we get into the rest of this article. Like, if she was out here lying or whatever the case, or didn't want to fulfill her end of the bargain, when you have receipts for all of this, so when you go in front of the judge or whatever the case is, just go up in there and say, like, I got evidence of the fact that, yeah, she, you know, she's saying that you were supposed to give her the whole building, but he's trying to say, like, I guess I didn't promise to give her the entire building. Now, she didn't pay her fare of renting out the place, even though she decided to back out. If it's written in the contract that she has to hold up her end of the bargain, where it's like, I got to pay this lease until my contract runs out, then if there's no payments in that, and if it is in the contract, present that in front of a judge. And we'll just have to see what all that is, because my thing is, if you sign in contracts, all your I's is dotted and all your T's crossed, you're not going to get me. In regards to, like, I'm gonna read it with a fine-tooth comb with my attorney and be like, I'm not gonna be paying for no building that I didn't agree on for the whole duration of the situation. So if I sign a 2-year lease, I gotta continue paying that off until the end of the lease is up. If that's not what I agreed on, if it's not, like I say, if it's not in the contract, you got to be able to prove all of that. So last month, Banks made waves for her ice cream brand after declaring that she wanted it to become her legacy. The Blast reported that she dropped a shocking statement during an appearance on the Jermaine Plain show. Is that an Australian show? Because I ain't never heard of her. Now, Banks reflected on her career during the interview, claiming she did not want modeling to be her legacy. She believed her achievement as a model and a woman of color who paved the way for others in the industry should be kept in a box. Well, that's dumb, because my thing is this. If you sit up here talking about you want to bring back America's Next Damn Top Model after you did that whole vanity project, non-accountability situation in that interview, then how do you not want this to be your legacy when you're trying to bring back a show that, if it wasn't for you being a model, you wouldn't have been able to accumulate the amount of money that you made from Top Model? America's Next Top Model made you bigger than what you were. In the beginning, you were just some regular schmegular ass model. You were I mean, even though you were kind of in the same class as a Naomi Campbell, you weren't as big as she was. Your legacy became what it was because you went from modeling into reality TV. And that's how most of us of my generation became familiar with Tyra Banks, even more so. So you don't want modeling to be your legacy, but now you trying to bring Top Model back, make it make sense. But you're trying to do hot ice cream, where none of us has tasted it, so we don't even know what that is. I mean, what you trying to be make that your legacy in another part of the world across the earth? in Australia? Because we can't taste it. And if anybody out there has ever had Tyra's ice cream, definitely put me on because I would like to know what it tastes like, if it's good or not. But they did bring up some stuff about Jay Manuel, but we don't need to get into that because we already talked enough about her and her situation with him from all the top model stuff. And I want to save that for when we get to the situation with Kelly Cutrone all of a sudden coming out her face towards one of the judges. But yeah, so I say all this to say I'll definitely keep abreast of this story as it develops because I'm sure this is what we're hearing right now. But eventually, when they go to court, I'll be keeping up to date with everything and see who's got to pay out. So I definitely want to hear from y'all regarding this story. Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Mhm, mhm. Glenn could try a more dramatic. Well, he's got to find a good dramatic role because the movies he's picking is not it. Would you consider the Girls a girl group? I was to Pink. I'm not. Oh, you were saying you were listening to Pink's "I'm Not Dead." I said Indigo Girls. I mean, they're kind of a girl. Well, they're a duo, right? Lesbians. Not that means anything, but they play instruments too. Yeah, I guess. Okay, I guess we will consider the Indigo Girls or anybody that's more than one of girls in a group from a technical sense. They're a girl group, but I would look at Indigo Girls. They're a band, right? That's kind of how I look at it. Whenever somebody plays instruments or whatever, I look at them as like a band. If we talk about girl groups, I'd be thinking like pop stars in that sense. Or maybe it's just be like a girl group is what you make it. The shade. Her name was Nicole was canceled. That album is Doll Domination. Basically, all the album went to become the PCD final studio album. I believe it. I know Tyra has always been nuttier than cashews, but she didn't always look like it. Now you can see it in her eyes. She looks, yeah, it seems like she's just, it's been a lot of mental wear and tear. So I don't know what's going on with her. It's unfortunate. Maybe, people going in on her on social media and ripping apart Top Model and everything. Maybe it just broke her down. Who knows? But she kind of had that shade about her during Top Model because remember that what Jay said about her and when he tried to resign and the way she treated him. I've noticed Michael Karpinski is happy that Screen went back to its roots. He even said Gen Z can't act. These relatively good actors. I think Jenna Ortega's a good actress. Um, well, Michael B. Jordan's not technical. I think he's a millennial. He's not Gen Z. I'm sure there's some good actors out there that are Gen Z. But yeah, a lot of y'all gonna have to learn because y'all can't just be up here trying to be influences and jumping into the whole acting thing. It's a skill. But yeah, I'm kind of glad they went back to their roots too, and we finally got to see Markham Suelos in a damn clip. Because I saw the clip of the interview scene between Sydney and Gail, and Gail being Gail, and then she asked her a question. She got bad and ripped off the mic, and you see this shot of Marcus with oh shit. I was like, we finally get to see you, but I guess he's missed the newscaster or in the newsroom and all that other stuff. So I'm like, do we get to see more of him? Because I think she also went on. Nev also went on Kelly and Michael this morning, which would make sense because they're in the movie together. And you already know Kelly was probably being a pain in the ass. So they together and like, stop being annoying. I mean, if you want to know who it is, you can go on Twitter. They already spoiled it. So, because I think people in France already seen the movie. But you know me, I've been dodging that like Neo dodging bullets in the Matrix. I've been doing what I can to try to prevent, spoilers. How many times am I supposed to believe people related to her or people treated the OG killer are compelling enough for randos to want to see them depleted? But we'll see this week if it still holds up to us in the S group. We don't want anybody else. But here's the thing: she can't play that character forever. At some point, they're gonna have to reboot the franchise and tell it from a new point of view and new characters because you can't just go on with Sydney forever. But then again, how many times do they bring Jamie Lee Curtis? Why is my watch all of a sudden bringing up Scream 7 and the time I was supposed to be going to see the movie on Friday? You nosy? My friend Brandon, who runs Front Page Pop, is interviewing Joni from Cycle 6. But that's good. The girls going to be out here spilling all the tea, as they should. This makes me want to look into Tyra's birth chart. Oh, Lord. Between you and Onyx and these damn birth charts. Don't worry, people. When I saw people leaving, I was like, I wasn't going to do no damn spoilers. We don't do that on this show. And if you put spoilers in the comments, your ass will be blocked. Just so you know. Anyway, let's get back into some old top model news because the judges are fighting. So you already know, like, the judges, and that will be Mr. and Mrs. J, as well as Nigel Barker, has been going on this accountability, apology, whatever you want to call it, type tour where they've been stopping all these different places because clearly the Netflix doc wasn't enough. So now they've been popping up in different places, you know, trying to rehabilitate their images and all this other stuff. And recently, you know, they did give a preview of them on Sherry Shepherd's show, which that full episode has finally dropped today. I did watch it. It was definitely it was a good episode. The only thing that was irritating me, it just felt like in so many ways, Sherry was it felt like she was trying to defend Tyra in a lot of the stuff and from back then and all this other stuff. But um there was some shade that was thrown amongst the judges, particularly from Miss J, and Nigel even said some shady things, and rightfully so. But it seems like the only one that's being singled out in all of this is Mr. J, Manuel, and that's coming from big back ass Kelly Cutrone, because apparently that lady who had the nerve to sit up here and talk about his appearance and saying he got fillers, and I'm like, sis, you should be the last one out here in these streets talking about somebody looks and feel it when says you can go to you can use his doctor. And if you're gonna sit up here and read people on appearances, Miss Ma'am. But you look a little mannish up in that face. Sidebar, there was somebody that had the unmitigated gall to come up in my comments because I called Caitlyn a big back. And they took it to a whole segment of like I was being transphobic. I'm like, anybody got a big back? I've even said the president of the United States got a big back. But she was in a picture at Mar-a-Lago with a bunch of clowns, and she took a picture, and that back was looking mighty big and linebackerish. I wasn't referring to her gender. Now, that's where you took it. Then that's on you. But don't put that on me. Now, me being transphobic would have been misgendering, but that's a whole other thing. And look, between that other girl, Caitlyn, she wastes no time throwing trans people under the bus thinking that she's exempt because she got money. But that's a whole nother conversation for another day. We're gonna talk about this. So Entertainment Weekly is reporting this story. So, former America's Next Top Model judge and Bravo reality star. She was on Bravo. I don't remember that. Or maybe they've had so much crap on that damn channel. I don't remember. Kelly Cutrone has hit back at creative director Jay Manuel after the latter spoke out against Tyra Banks in the new Netflix docuseries Reality Check Inside America's Next Top Model. Cutrone, a powerhouse fashion industry publicist who served on the permanent ANTM panel from cycles 18 to 22. That was, I think, around the time when Mr. J was pretty much being ousted from the show. Reaction to Manuel's criticism of Banks throughout Reality Check, in which he alleges that the supermodel host refused to speak to him on set after he expressed interest in leaving the series following cycle 8. So I do have her tweet, because hold on, let me pull that up so y'all can read it. Please hold. Okay, so it's there. And in case you can't read it, I'm gonna read it. She says, side note, Jay never even worked in the fashion industry. He worked at a MAC makeup counter in Toronto. I didn't even know he was Canadian. Tyra boosted him, and how did he repay her? Well, she said here, but girl, it's her. By writing a novel about her and the show, which no one bought. And now he's trying to become relevant by being out here trashing her again. Maybe he will get a deal as a spokesperson for spray tanning or filler. He was so incredibly rude to me my first day on the show. He came up to me and said, "Welcome to the show. You are in the ejector seat," meaning anyone who sat in that seat, Andre, etc., were I think she meant were fired. Oddly enough, he was, does at the, wait, what? Oddly enough, he was, does at the end of that season. Girl, if you was going to come up here and read somebody, at least proofread before you hit send, which is, my pet peeve when people come up here and they write stuff and it don't, and I got to sit and, I'm thinking I'm going dyslexic when I be reading some of y'all comments or your posts. So I guess what she was saying was, yeah, he was rude at basically saying, girl, you're not gonna last long on this show. And you in the ejector seat. And she was like, and lo and behold, at the end of that season, which was 18, he did say that he was fired from the show during season 18. And he wasn't the only one that got rid of Nigel and Miss J as well. And Tyra said it was the higher ups that made the decision. But I'm like, but sis, you could have still fought for them to be a part of the show. So yeah, so Kelly then came up in here and started her mess. But here's the thing: Mr. J wasn't the only one that spoke out. And so what? He's not allowed to tell his side of the story, or if you're going to be interviewed about the time that went on the show. And they even mentioned in the Sherry Shepherd interview that what their roles were. That, yeah, they weren't in every meeting that was on the show. Their name wasn't on the marquee. I mean, technically, Tyra's wasn't either, but she was the host. So everybody held her to a higher standard because she was the supermodel. She came from that world. She created the show. She made everybody know it that she created the show. So that's what people are going to be thinking. And Miss J was like, I want y'all to know that, yeah, I wasn't in on those meetings. I was just there to help the girls walk and all that other stuff. I wasn't in on the production meetings and that sort of thing. And Nigel said that he wasn't much on the production meetings too. That wasn't his situation. He was in there to do the photo shoots. And they kept them separate from the models on purpose because they didn't want them to be biased when it came time to judge. So people had to understand a lot of what was going on. So I don't understand, like, all of a sudden why Kelly is coming out trying to be a staunch supporter of Tyra. Is it because Tyra mentioned at the end that she is trying to bring back Top Model for Cycle 25 and you trying to pitch yourself for a gig by showing that you're loyal to the cause? I know some people be like, well, she don't need it. I mean, I don't know what she does if she's still part of the fashion world, if she still works behind the scenes as a publicist or whatever the case is. I don't know how she's making her coins. But at the end of the day, people also need to realize it's not always about the money. It's not about the money, money, money. We don't need the money, money. Okay, let me stop thinking of I'm Jesse J. But she don't need the money. It's not always about money when it comes to this stuff. Sometimes the clout, the power, being on TV, that is a bigger drug than how much money you make in your account. So people need to kind of look at it that way. It's like that currency of fame and being on TV and introducing yourself to a new generation of viewers. That's bigger. That's a much better currency than the amount of money you're getting in your wallet. The money will come down the road, but the fame is something that they like. Now, in a 2025 interview with Entertainment Weekly, Cycle 9 contestant Ambrio Williams, who alleged that Manuel was dismissive towards her after the cycle aired, fellow Cycle 9 star Sarah Hartshorn additionally alleged in her 2025 book about the show that Mr. J didn't get along with anybody on Cycle 9, which aired in late 2007. Probably because he didn't want to be there, so he was being a bitch. I wouldn't be surprised if Mr. J was out there being shady. We know how the gays are, especially the pretty ones, where they act like they shit don't stink. And yeah, we could definitely see that he got the Karamo makeover. Them cheeks are pumped. The cheeks are cheeking. Because when you look at Karamo too, it's like, oh, that face don't move. I'm sorry, Karamo, you had to get that straight. But sis, we've been talking about your, all that extra cheekage that you got up in there. Lay off the fillers. I don't understand how you men of a certain age, y'all be doing this to yourselves. Y'all look fine. You don't need to look over plasticized. And I said if I needed it, I get a couple of injections in the face. But I need my face to move. You see, I'm moving my forehead. Because I like my face to move for now. But they would say he didn't get along. And also remember Kenya. Because it's funny how he was up on Sherry Shepherd show, and I caught him with that. Talking about that, what Kenya had to deal with and all that other stuff. I'm like, wait a minute, sir. You were a part of that. You were in charge of that photo shoot. And Kenya was like, she wanted to stop because that model, I forget his name, was making her uncomfortable. I don't know if he had, the Zulu dick wasn't covered underneath the loincloth. Because they was in Africa, right, when they shot that. And he make her uncomfortable. He touching her inappropriately, grinding his meat up on her leg or rubbing his peen up against her body and stuff. And he's forcing and making unwanted advantages towards her. And what did Mr. J do? Like how dare you pull the Tyra? How, like I said in the last segment, because how dare you sue me? He was like, how dare you stop my production because you feeling uncomfortable with what this guy was doing. But now that accountability has come home to roost, now all of a sudden y'all want to play like y'all weren't also equal participants in the bullshit. So just admit y'all wrong doing whatever. And if there's ANTM contestants that talk about their experiences about Jay Manuel being shady, they have every right to call it out. So they said, I walked to the set and the photographer, Mike Rosenthal, was sitting with his camera looking disinterested. He barely looked at me as I approached. Mr. J had been showing someone his new iPhone and all the features as I walked up. Hartshorn wrote in her book. He rolled his eyes as he put it in his pocket and took a deep, ragged sigh as though he were steeling himself to be on camera again. Representatives for Reality Check and Manuel did not immediately respond to EW's request for comment. Now, Cutrone's ANTM run began at the end of Manuel's, as the latter detailed in Reality Check his firing after cycle 18, alongside ANTM staples like photographer Judge Nigel Barker and runway coach Ms. J. Alexander. On the series, Manuel suggests that after drafting a press release announcing the trio's amicable departure from the program amid what Banks said was a network request to revive the show with a talent shakeup, he was blindsided when a news leak about their firing made headlines before the release could go out. Manuel also alleged that Banks treated him coldly after they expressed interest in leaving the show as far back as cycle 8. Saying, on camera, we learned to play and laugh, but it was just clear I was not allowed to speak to her outside of that, which after the first day I thought, there's absolutely no way I'm going to survive this cycle. Manuel remembered of his dynamic with Banks after what he said. He emailed her about the exit, and when, he wanted to leave at the end of cycle 8, and they said I guess they brought him back because they couldn't find somebody to replace him. Which I'm like, it's hard to find somebody who can just give girls a like read a teleprompter or just memorize the lines and give people their challenges. Now, Ms. J additionally revealed at the end of the series, okay, they had a stroke, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. So, um, oh yeah, so they also threw some shade at Miss Cutrone. They said, in addition to Manuel's words of Reality Check, various other contestants are featured in the doc speaking about their experiences. Cutrone also came under fire in an EW interview with Cycle 18 contestant Louise Watts, who famously sparred with the fashion publicist during a judging session that led to Watts quitting the competition mid-deliberation. Watts took issue with the way Cutrone spoke to her during an earlier challenge, with the judges also chastising Watts for her attitude about the situation in the judging room. Because it's like, you're not going to talk to me any old goddamn way. And that's another thing, too. Shout out to the girls who wasn't going to put up with the bullshit, like Takara and so many others, where it's like, you're not going to disrespect me, and I'm not going to sit here and take it. Show be damned. And Takara went on to have success outside of Top Model, even after she was eliminated. But it's like, I'm not going to sit up and let you disrespect me because y'all want a moment on a TV show and you want ratings. Because, like I said, at the time, every judge on TV wanted to be Simon Cowell. So they was all trying to create their own version of that on all these different reality shows. So they went and said, I tell everybody that works for me not to run on sets. It's a standard thing in the industry. There was no need to run, and I don't think it's unprofessional or picking on anyone. This is what she told EW at the time. Louise has zero regard of hierarchy and zero understanding of how the industry works in the real world. She thought she'd embarrass me on panel, and I thought, I've had enough. You're trying to make me a person I don't want to be. I can't do all this fake shit. Watts told EW at the moment, claiming that the edit made it seem like the argument unfolded over one take, but that it was cobbled together from a lengthier spat. I was going to confront her and go, why? I mean, who do you think you're talking to? But I held that in. they said a rep for Banks declined to comment because she worried about that, that ice cream and that lawsuit. That's why she can't talk. Now, Banks has spoken about ANTM controversies in the past, strongly pushing against allegations of putting models in blackface and switching races and all the mess. So, Chad, at this point, I already said it. Like they even asked her they even asked some of the old judges would they come back if they bring back the show, and just you know what, Top Model was what it was during its heyday. It was a time when it was what it was. I don't think everything though don't need to be brought back. Sometimes shows just need to stay dead. So Top Model ended with Cycle 24. Let us say where's that? Let us have it as a nostalgia moment, a distant memory. If we want to go back and watch some of the episodes and we go through those cringe moments when we watching it, then so be it. But I feel like at this point, don't bring the show back. It's causing way too much drama. It's causing too much emotional distress. And now we got judges fighting amongst each other and Tyra acting like just like don't look over there. There's nothing going on. What you see isn't always the truth. So I'm doing drag race references on Top Model. But but I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Because it's like, damn, Kelly Cutrone, I was like, you windmilling kind of hard for Tyra. Maybe you trying to vie for a spot if they decide to bring the show back. But they can find a way to make the show interesting. Okay, maybe I'll give it a gander. But I honestly think that y'all just need to, that top Model needs to just stay dead. Let these people have a moment. If they want to get on and start doing interviews, whatever the case is, have at it. Because I'll be here using it as grist for my mill and talking about it as a topic on this show. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. Until Jay realized the entire releases that entire resignation email, I will never forgive him. I mean, I will forever give him the side eye. Even Miss J said, "Ooh." He might be. Oh yeah, because it's like he holds things so close to the chest. Yeah, there's something very sneaky about that man. Yeah, you cute or whatever, but she spoke her piece. You don't like Kelly Cutrone? Come on, international fish. We got international up in, we going international with this show. Hello from the UK. Thank you. You said what episode? Oh no, well, it was during cycle 9, right? When they talked about it, or it might have been cycle. Oh, wait, it was a cycle 8 because that was around the time when he was leaving. Then she came around that time. I just read Charles Kushner might lose his status as U.S. ambassador. He shouldn't even have that position alongside a lot of them up in there because he's missing meetings with the French government. They're not working. They just up in there with a bunch of damn titles. He's like, your face looks fine. Well, you've seen it in person. So, but I'm just like, look, I said, look, if the time comes that I would want to get some fillers, I wouldn't rule it out. I don't need it at the moment, but I'm like, I get a little injection here and there. I don't shy away from well, not surgery because I would never, but I never shy away from a little Botox. But I don't want to be over plasticized. I'm like, put it in there where it look natural. Don't have me looking crazy. Don't have me out here looking like a plastic surgery victim or like Madonna when she showed up at the Grammys looking a mess. I'm like, ma'am, who told you to leave the house looking like a blowfish? Oh. Well, I'll have to look into that story. Maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. But it's like, look, y'all can't be out here. I have to read it before I could judge. When you said these judges were a bunch of insecure high school mean girls, it sounds like Hollywood. You pretty much explained Hollywood. There's a bunch of them in there, a bunch of insecure high school mean girls. And I'm talking about, I'm even including the men up in it too, calling them a bunch of mean girls, a bunch of damn Regina Georges with power. That's basically what a lot of them are. So I ain't saying all of them, but there's a lot of them that it's like they took that mean spirit bully mentality of them, what happened to them, and they reflected on other people. Hollywood is very high school. I don't know why criticism in itself is such a problem for folks. So what if people are talking about Tyra? Are they even saying anything that bad? No, they just talking about the show. Like, y'all ain't said nothing personal. I mean, even when he did the interview with Sherry, he was like, I would never say anything remotely bad about her. Like, I know her personal intimates of intimates, and I'll take that to my grave. So he wasn't saying nothing bad. He was just talking about the experience of the show and the outcome of everything. He didn't say nothing bad about her. And she said nobody bought that book. Well, I didn't buy it, but I don't know if it was a bestseller or whatever the case is, or how well it did. But my thing is, if you're going to write a book, and it's kind of like in that world of modeling and stuff. I mean, at least spill some tea. Even though, yes, it is fiction. Fiction. Put some stuff in it. We ain't gonna know if it's real or not. All right, y'all. So now let's move on and get into some more mess. And let's talk about Kris Jenner because she tired of she said, I'm getting tired of Ray J shit. So now she's filed a declaration against the attention whore because she said, I'm tired of you lying to my daughter's vagina. I mean, you did lie up in her vagina, but she said, I'm tired of you lying on my daughter and her cootie cat. So the matriarch filed a new declaration blasting her daughter's ex for publicly terrorizing Kim Kardashian over the past 20 years by continually talking and lying about her in the press to try to keep himself relevant. Well, you know what? As much as I don't like the Kardashians, I'm going to be Team Kris on this one because everything that Ray J does right now is for relevancy, clout, and attention. Even down to the recent thing with the blood coming out the eyes and the blood on the heart monitor, which he claimed that somebody done stole while he was performing. I'm like, every little thing that comes on, and don't even get me started on this recent story that came out about Ray J and there was a domestic dispute where police had to be called. I was like, boy, if you don't go sit your ass down somewhere, because you're doing too much. Now, Jenner, who's 70, railed against the singer's latest outrageous and untrue allegations, which he made in September 2025 Twitter live stream about federal agents investigating the mother-daughter duo for doing something worse than Sean Diddy Combs. The songwriter also alleged 5 months prior in the TMZ Presents United States versus Sean Combs Inside the Diddy Trial doc that racketeering charges against the Kardashians would be appropriate. Labeling these claims outrageous lies, Jenner pointed out the wave of attention Ray J's comments have brought, as well as the significant emotional distress they've caused the Skims. Okay, now, y'all really think Kim is stressed out over all of this? I mean, she's had worse. She had to deal with, she got a baby father that's problematic. And you saying that what Ray J's done is 10 times worse? I don't know if I believe that part. She said, my family is of the utmost importance to me, Jenna wrote in her emotional declaration. Oh, you know, Jenna, all Kris got to do is turn on the Karen Waterworks, and you know, they'll probably be eating out the palm of her hand. It is deeply painful to watch my daughter experience the stress brought upon her by Ray J and her feelings of hopelessness, and that his harassment will never end. She continued by saying this. She said, I took this step because I can no longer bear Ray J's campaign of harassment against my daughter and my family, or to watch my daughter cry again over the lies he's painted about us. Jenner noted that she has never sued anybody for defamation in her decades-long career, but found Ray J's statement too inexcusable and deeply painful to overlook. Well, I will say this. If you're making up allegations about me with no proof, then there's like, okay, now you defaming my character. I'm going to have to take your ass to court. Now it's only a matter of does Ray J have the money? I guess some people have pointed out that Ray J is pretty much well off. He's got I think he's still got the Raycon and he's got a lot of little business endeavors, which I don't understand why he don't just focus on that instead of pulling the stunt shows and shenanigans for attention. Because like I told y'all, fame is one hell of a drug. As Rick James said, cocaine is a hell of a drug, but it's fame surpasses that. Now, in addition to the effect on Kardashian, 45, Jenner wrote that she is deeply angered, insulted, and shaken by the allegations herself, as they could hurt her business. Ray J's rep did not immediately respond to Page Six's request for comment. Now, the Grammy nominee, what was he nominated for? One Wish, who's also 45, dated Kardashian on and off between 2003 and 2006, and their infamous sex tape was leaked the year after their breakup. Ray J sued Kardashian and Jenner in November 2025, claiming they were the ones to release the tape, an allegation he first made headlines for in 2022. Now, his lawsuit, which the Kardashian stars dubbed a disjointed, rambling distraction, came on the heels of Kardashian and Jenner suing Ray J over his racketeering claims in October of 2025. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're going to sit up here and accuse me of racketeering, because I've also heard stories where people say, "Oh, they in the Epstein files and all other stuff." So I'm like, okay, so in what capacity was Kris out here trafficking her own daughters to these rich people for coins, or is it that it was mentioned in a sentence and the Kardashian name popped up in it? I need to know in what capacity. So when you're out here talking about all these different things, you got to have that kind of proof. Because Ray J will sit up in here and say all kinds of stuff, and it's like, okay, but where's the proof though? Because you just be running off with your mouth and say all kinds of shit, and because people at home are salivating at the mouth and they get off on celebrities doing foolishness because it gives them some type of job. And we're going to get into that when we talk about the DL Whisperer and all that foolishness that he got himself caught up into. When y'all get caught up out here for all that clout and attention, you're going to end up in jail or caught up in a lawsuit or worse. So y'all got to be careful what y'all be saying about these certain celebrities out here in these streets. If you're going to make these allegations, you have to have the proof. So Kardashian, they said, filed her own declaration last week per TMZ and expressed fear and worry that Ray J's allegations could put her aspirations to become a girl. You still on that with trying to be a lawyer? She also opened up about having tough conversations with her and ex-husband Kanye West for kids. North, South, East, and West. Okay, I always make that joke. But North, who's 12, Saint, who's 10, Chicago, who's 8, and Sam, who's 6, over the One Wish crooners' repeated lies. Well, sis, is that all you got to explain it to your kids? Because how you became famous, that I'm sure they already know this already. And they talk, their friends talk. And yeah, I don't know if a lot of y'all think about this down the road that the things you do in life, when y'all start to have kids and you in the public eye and you famous, you got to have these conversations eventually with them. They be like, you know how mommy got famous? That man that keep talking shit about your mother. She was up there making all them little moons while he was digging high with that hook, with that Captain Hook shaped nigga is. So I'm sure this is not going anywhere anytime soon, but I will definitely keep you abreast of the story as it develops. Because Rachel, you a straight up clown. I mean, I don't particularly like the Kardashians because y'all can be annoying too. And just fun snatchers and just be so caught up in the whole matrix of the fame and celebrity and wanting to control narratives and things. And Rachel, you know damn better. Y'all all messy in this whole situation. So I'll definitely keep you abreast of this story. I definitely want to hear your thoughts on it. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Like, Brandy, come get your brother. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. You said life in high school. Life after high school is high school. Okay. It's like these people never grow up. Oh, the irony of Kris telling Ray J to stay okay. Because they all do whatever they got to do to stay relevant. I'm like, child, birds of a feather. But Ray is such a sad case. I don't blame Brandy keeping her distance. Brandy out here doing whatever it is that she's doing. First of all, I'm still mad at her over that um Star Spangled Banner that she did at the NBA. What is it? The NBA All-Star Draft. I was like, what is that? What in the harmony is going on? I was not liking it was giving Christmas Carol tease. I was not liking that whole harmonizing with June's Diary. I was like, what is this mess? And all the basketball players that was on it, because they pick all the MVPs or whatever. Like the best players, Jalen Brunson, a bunch of them was there. And I'm sitting there like, they look like, okay, can you get this shit done and over with so we could play ball? Like, this has got to be the longest Star Spangled Banner in the history of Spangled Banners. We don't have to deal with this long ass Star Spangled Banner at the Garden. Which when the people come in the arena, I do hold them back until the national anthem is done. I'm like, you're good to go. He said the Kardashians and Brandy's brother are both attention seeking. The former is just more successful at it. Absolutely. The older I get, the more I'm happy not to be famous. Too much drama. I like, look, I like being fame-ish. I don't like that's why I think I've always kind of shied away from, doing things in the entertainment industry because I didn't want to deal with that fame. But the more I do this, the more eyes come out and, the more people will recognize me and things of that nature. And I'm like, I'm fine with all of that. But once I'm done with this, I close the blinds, I go and I go about my life. This is not my 24/7 gig. You can't make this whole thing your 24/7 gig. But anyway, child, speaking of people who trying to stay relevant, let's talk about Lil' Kim. So apparently she did an interview with Nick Cannon, where I'm sitting there looking like, how you doing an interview and where's the lighting? You're in a car. He's asking you a question. And so, yeah, this clip came from the Neighborhood Talk, where Kimmy Blanco basically said that she hates when it was kind of like the headline was deceiving, where they was like, she hate her fans. She don't hate all her fans. She hates the ones that pretty much try to act like they know what's best for her career. Why does this Kim? I don't even think Lil' Kim knows what's best for her career. So let's get into the clip and we will come back and talk. Please hold.
Then I gotta ask that question: what inspires Lil' Kim?
My family, my friends, people who believe in me. Listen, I'm about to say something, and I mean, some people might say, but I can't stand my fans sometimes, yo.
Why?
I hate them because they don't get it. I really feel like some of the, and I'm not talking to all of them, obviously, but like the ones that think they know me, think they control me, think that they know best for me.
The fanatics, the stands.
Yeah, and the ones that, and then those are the ones that just, I told them, believe it or not, y'all are the reason why we're not where we're supposed to be yet.
Oh, wow. Tell me more. They love you, though. They just love you with so much passion and conviction.
Yeah.
They feel like they so close to you.
Yeah, but, we gotta, elevation was always my thing. The reason why I think I'm still moving out is because I had learned to say, I don't give a fuck. Fuck whatever I don't care no more. I'm gonna do it my way.
And I mean, you've been proven doing it your way has worked this far.
Yeah, and then the last few years I'm just like, you know what, whatever.
So then I got.
Okay, it's no shade, and I love Lil' Kim down. She will always be the queen bee. Before Beyonce done swagger, or the Beehive done swagger jacked it and called Beyonce the queen bee. But what has Lil' Kim been doing in the past couple of years where she's talking about, I'm going to start doing things my way? And my thing is this: you should have been doing things your way. Why you weren't like trying to dictate, excuse me, why are you sitting over here trying to dictate your career around what you think that your fans or whatever want you to do? You should be up in here doing what you feel is right for your career and not just be listening to what your fans want. But I also feel that, in my opinion, I don't feel like post the naked truth because, well, maybe we should go with La Bella Mafia. I mean, the naked truth, I didn't mind it. There were some songs in there that I love. I love Whoa, whoa, whoa. I had to, I didn't want to say the N-word so many damn times up in here. That's why I was mumbling it. But they had some good bops on that album. But the reality is it's like, once she got out of jail and she released that album, I don't feel like Kim really applied herself. I don't know if it was necessarily the industry that was kind of like, oh, she's tainted because of, the prison thing. because you went to federal prison where they treat men completely different. If you come out of jail as a man, I don't think your career suffered as much. And then it was the Nicki Minaj thing where Little Kim was trying to make her comeback. She did claim that Slim and Baby stole her style and gave it to Nicki. And yeah, Kim started the Barbie thing and all this. So how many licks when you seen that video and all this stuff? Like she definitely started the whole Barbie thing. Black Barbie dressed up Bagari. She was doing the Barbie thing, but Nicki took it and ran with it and evolved it into more of a crossover artist. She was doing that raunchy rap, but she was also doing the pop stuff. So she evolved in different ways. Little Kim, I felt like she had her pop moments, but she was still trying to rule her music into like that hardcore respecting the rap game type situation. She didn't really cross over into that thing that she could have. And so it might be a mixture of things. Also, the countless surgeries where it's like they said about Michael Jackson, you don't know if you black or white. It's like she was black, then she was morphed into a white woman, then she went from Lil Kim to Lil Kim G. Then she became Asian or Blasian, whatever, or Coblasian, as Tiger Woods used to refer to himself as. I don't know if he still does. Remember, excuse me, they asked Tiger Woods what was he? He said, I'm Coblasian, Caucasian, Black, and Asian. Well, I'm not thinking of that kimchi song, No Fat Femmes are Asians. I was thinking that I was like trying to make the Coblasian thing into a song. No Cobla Asians, doom doom. No Cobla Asians, doom doom. Remember when she couldn't dance and she was okay? I'm going on a tangent, but I don't know. Let me read some of the comments over at Neighborhood Talk and see what some people were saying. Because I don't know if necessarily it's right for her to blame us, the fans. And let me tell you something. I love Lil Kim Down from back in the day. And, I love hardcore and I love a lot of the songs off that record. And I love a lot of the songs from the Bella Mafia and Notorious KIM and a lot of the earlier stuff. But since then, a lot of us have grown. We got bills. We got a life. We got things. I ain't really following Kim like that. Quiet as it's kept, I don't even really follow female rap like I used to when I was younger. So if they like with Megan Thee Stallion and all these other girls and Cardi B, it's like, yeah, I listen to their songs and I work the events when they come to the garden, but I'm not really caught up in the whole female rap thing like I was when I was a kid. It's not like a thing for me anymore. I don't really listen to hip hop like that anymore because hip hop has changed so much. But so I don't think you necessarily blame us. You got to take accountability for why your career has stalled. No shade, and that's no shade. But some of the people said, I love Lil Kim Down, but she needs to be self-aware. Number one, the beef with Nicki Minaj did her no favors. Well, I don't know if that was necessarily her fault because it comes to show like after we see how Nicki is, people have kind of been like, well, damn, Kim was right. So I don't know if we should necessarily say that her beef with Nicki, yeah, at the time, it definitely tainted her career, but now people see that Kim was the problem. Because Nicki getting beefs with a lot of female rappers. Pick one. I'm talking about the female ones. And then they said, two, the quality of her music after La Bella Mafia went down significantly. Well, that's true. And three, the plastic surgeries. Another person said, Little Kim just simply couldn't keep up with the time. And then on top of that, Nicki Minaj came in like a true powerhouse and dominated the game. Kim had a nice run. But that's no shade. I agree. They said the era is done. That's what another person said. Another person said it's because people only bring her up when they're not mad, when they're mad at Nicki Minaj, instead of actually supporting her and listening to her music. Well, they got a point with that too. And I feel like they do the same thing in certain situations with Cardi B. Y'all don't like Nicki, and you have valid reasons, but you don't like her, but you want to use someone else to justify your hatred towards that other person. If you like, you can like multiple female rappers, but I'm not going to sit and like one person over another because that last one was problematic or I had an issue with something that other person says. It just feels like it just comes across as disingenuous and fake. Okay, this is shady, but I'm gonna read it. Somebody said, unfortunately, her ghostwriter passed away and her music wasn't hitting after that. There's always got to be someone that writes that read up in there. Then another one said, I think you altering your looks plays a huge part. We love you just the way you were. I don't believe she loved it. Well, yeah, I definitely get that. Like, she was going through a lot of situations, insecurities. People was calling her ugly when Kim was not ugly before all the surgeries. And You got to be right within yourself before you could accept the outside. It's kind of like what RuPaul always says: if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else? And I do feel like all the surgeries or whatever was due to a lot of hatred and judgment she was getting from other people. So she thought changing up her looks and stuff would make her more attractive. It just made you look crazy. Another person said, "Love you down, Kimmy, but you just couldn't keep up in with Nikki, and Download was a horrible comeback song after getting out of jail. It's a list of actual reasons you couldn't progress past your prime, boo. Just enjoy the legend status and appreciate still being booked." And I do agree with that. That maybe at this point, it's like, I don't know. Maybe what Kim needs to do is a reality show, or maybe she needs not even a reality show. Maybe she needs to do like she needs to get into entrepreneurial stuff, like a makeup line, a wig line, a nail line, a clothing. Well, I was gonna say a clothing line. Clothing line might be difficult, but like, come out with a wig. You wear wigs all the damn time. Come out with a wig line or a bag line or something like that. Get your Jessica Simpson on with like a shoe, affordable shoe line or whatever the case is, and do something business wise like that. I just feel like Kim don't apply herself, or maybe it's better like at this point in your career, be a socialite. And if you need to get out there and get bookings like at Summer Jam or some rap festival or some little event where they want to have you where you could do a couple of shows and you just get out there and perform your old hits with a couple of backup dancers, then get your bag that way. Live for the whole fact that you are an icon. You were good for the time that you were, which is of my generation. Because you came out with music when I was in high school. So um enjoy that time that you had. You still an icon in the eyes of the hip hop female rap world. So accept that, and that's that. Because I feel like, because yeah, I just don't. This rubbed me the wrong way, Chad. That you out here blaming us for your career being stagnant. That's on you, sis. You can't blame us. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Do you agree with Lil Kim saying that she mad at her fans? She said she hates y'all because she be wanting to do different things and y'all be acting like y'all know what's best for her career. I'd be damned if I allow some people that buy my shit dictate how my career goes. You just don't got the right people behind you that's really pushing you to do other things. And maybe you do need, and look, there's nothing wrong as a rapper to get somebody, a co-writer, a ghostwriter, whatever the case is, to help you write your shit. It's always the thing I hate is that people get so much, they go harder on women for doing it. But some of y'all male faves are notorious for using ghostwriters, and y'all don't say nothing regarding that. So why is it a problem when it's a woman? So yeah, let me know what you guys think of this story. And I understand, like with hip hop, that it's supposed to be about you as a rapper. You authentically are supposed to write your stuff because it should be, your experiences is coming from you. But also, this is the music business. And if men can go around, male rappers go around using whole ghostwriters to write their stuff and get away with it and can have success, then y'all shouldn't be as hard on the women for doing it. It just shows your gender bias. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Most artists feel this way about their stands, but will never say it out loud because they're the same ones who buy every variant of their new. And Lil Kim, I guess, don't care because she ain't putting out no variants or music, so she could say all of that. As one of the few Beehive left, there's nothing new to give advice on. She hasn't released new music since the 2010s. There are fans that actually care about her and want to keep her legacy afloat. hmm And with all that being said, Drugs Off Hardcore is the best female rap song of all time. Drugs and Dreams. Dreams of sucking that R&B dick. I do love that song. So whoever, regardless of if Biggie wrote her songs or whatever the case was, that was look. I love hardcore. That album still slaps. All right, maybe I shouldn't have used the word slap when we about to go into this next topic. But let's talk about Zachery Ty Bryan. So y'all probably remember that. Y'all might remember Zachery Ty Bryan, who played Brad Taylor over there on Home Improvement back in the day. Well, apparently, since then, as a big old adult in his 40s, he ain't been able to keep himself out of trouble. And now his stuff has come back to haunt him because he's about to spend over a year in jail because he can't stop having DUIs and all that other mess. So let's get into the tea. So Bryan, who's 44, received his sentence at a rearrangement following a pact he reached in the case with the prosecution. This is according to TMZ, who reported this on Monday, citing court docs. Now, Bryan, who played Brad Taylor on the ABC sitcom from 1991 to 1999, entered a guilty plea to DUI with an admission he had a blood alcohol level of 0.15%, almost twice the legal limit, which is 0.08% actually. The latter part came with an enhancement due to the severity of the offense, according to the outlet. Now, compounding problems for the former sitcom star is a pair of past DUI convictions, which made his dealings in his case considerably more difficult. The presiding judge declined to give Bryan probation and sentenced him to 1 year and 4 months in county jail. With the outlet reported, Bryan was credited with 57 days served, probably because he's been in jail as this has been going on. But I guess probably because he ain't got the money to bail himself out. But what I don't understand is the fact that why would you want another year of probation? The fact of the matter is you're not learning your lesson when you've been courted countless times getting caught up in these situations, and here you go, continuously getting in trouble. And I'm at a point now, I'm done. Now I'm no longer going to keep giving you a slap on the wrist. I'm basically going to, you got to be held accountable for your actions. So then, after he's done completing his sentence for the DUI, Bryan will have to deal with warrants from out of the country. From out of the county linked to the offense. Bryan last year pointed to a difficult transition from childhood fame to adulthood responsibility in explaining his most recent arrest in connection with DV. Bryan was taken into custody by police in Riverside County, California in the early morning hours of February 17th, 2024, in connection with driving under the influence with 3 or more priors. Authorities said that a misdemeanor contempt of court charge was also linked to the arrest. Now, deputies assigned to the La Quinta Sheriff Station conducted a traffic stop in the area of Washington Street and Calle Tampico in La Quinta on a vehicle suspected as being involved in a recent traffic collision. Riverside County Sheriff's Office Sergeant Wendy Brito Gonzalez said in a statement at the time. That was a damn tongue twister. Now, Brito Gonzalez said that when deputies contacted the driver, they observed indications of impairment leading to the driver's arrest for driving under the influence with priors. Bryan in November told TMZ that fame as a child actor left scars in his life and psyche, leading to a number of legal issues he's dealt with as an adult more than 2 decades later. Well, before I get to the rest of this article, I'm definitely curious when he says, fame as a child actor left scars in his life and psyche. So I'm wondering, what exactly was going on as you growing up as a child actor that caused all of these things where you're being abusive to, I don't know if he's married or if he has a woman with like the woman of the mother of his children is just like a girlfriend, whatever the case is. But there was stories of him putting hands on her and being abusive, where he was arrested for DV, and the constant drinking and getting behind the car where you could you could hurt yourself and other people because you're inebriated behind the wheel. And so whatever issues you got dealing with, I know it may sound, I don't know if it makes me sound harsh or very dismissive in the whole thing, but I look at everything from a logical standpoint. And it's like, there's therapy and stuff that you could get out there that could help you with whatever issues that you're dealing with. Or you need to, hopefully, and while you're in jail, that you're working out whatever demons that you're dealing with, because then they say that jail's all about rehabilitation, where it seems like it's become like this institution that our government profits off of, with people being in jail and stuff. And so I'm hoping that you're using this time to get yourself together and work out whatever demons that you have going on within your life. Because I wonder, like, with you being a child actor and you being on Home Improvement and the other roles and stuff that you've done throughout your life, what happened to you that has caused this moment of trauma that you've been trying to suppress with drinking? Because if you're behaving in this way and you're blaming this on certain things that happened in your childhood, I wonder what that is. Were you abused in your childhood in some sort of way, and now this is a reflection of that? Because we always hear stories of like young actors in Hollywood and the amount of abuse and PDF file rings, and I'm just speculating. I don't know if he was a victim of that, but there's got to be some explanation that we could get to the bottom of regarding what may have happened. Why is he behaving the way he's behaving? You know me, I'm always about trying to get my Sigmund Freud on, where I'm trying to analyze the situation and how do we get to the root of the problem. Because he said that he says that being thrust into the spotlight at 9 years old brought pressures I wasn't equipped to handle, but that's no justification for my choices as an adult. And I was gonna say that, like, that still doesn't excuse the behavior. Bryan said that he's embarking on a journey toward personal growth in an effort to avoid these types of situations moving forward. Bryan made clear he understood that DV in any form is unacceptable, telling the outlet that he deeply regrets wrongdoings spurred by immaturity stemming from his unconventional childhood. Saying the truth is, I've struggled with the lasting effects of early fame, addiction, and poor decision making, which have hurt people I care about and led to repeated legal issues, including DUIs and past domestic incidents. Bryan said that the latest situation involving a restraining order and serious accusations has been a painful wake-up call. He told the outlet that he was especially hurt by how his legal issues have led to people judging him as a parent, saying being labeled as a bad dad cuts deep because my children are my world and I know I've fallen short. So they also said Bryan, who played Clay in 2006 Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, said he's looking to correct course with therapy and by enrolling in drug rehabilitation and anger management programs. So you know what? Now that we've finally got to the root of it all, because I was sitting here speculating before I got through the rest of the article, he said he's going to put in the work where he's going to go and take therapy and enroll in drug rehabilitation and anger management programs. And I think that that's a great situation. And it's unfortunate it had to get to this place for him to come to this realization. But it's like, yeah, that's why I always say, like, it's not easy when you're a kid and you're thrust into this celebrity thing. Because I'm wondering, like, was this something that he wanted, or was this something that he was pushed into by a bunch of show parents? Because there'd be parents out here that couldn't hack it as a star, but then they see their kid, oh, he's got that blonde hair, blue eyes, all American look. And Zachery definitely dressed the way I used to dress back in, like, we all dressed like this in the 90s. The big sneakers and the baggy jeans and the big denim shirt. Like, we wore everything big back in the 90s. So it's definitely, I'm just glad that we're at a place where he's willing to do the work. Now, it remains to be seen if you're actually going to do the work or this is just lip service because of where we are right now. Because, a lot of people, I always want to give people the benefit of the doubt, but the cynic side always comes out because it's not easy when you're an addict because it's to be taken as a day by day situation, and you can expect everybody to just be perfect in every way. So I'm rooting for you to get yourself together for yourself and your kids and everything else, and because the last thing you want is to relapse and get behind the wheel and somebody ends up losing their life for your poor decision making. So I tell this to say what you guys think of this story. Shout out to Zachery, and hopefully he's getting the help he needs while he's behind bars. So yeah, I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. Not Jonathan Taylor Thomas would never. I did remember they showed like a sighting of him in a photo, and I was like, child, I will just remember when I seen that picture. I was like, I would just like to remember Jonathan Taylor Thomas as he looked when he was younger, and that's all I'm gonna say on that. Because of course we was all in the same age range. And I used to have the biggest crush on Jonathan Taylor Thomas. I was like, that was a cute boy. But like I said, we was all in the same age range, so I'm sorry. All right, y'all. So now let's get into some more tea. Some messy tea. And let's talk about Carrie underwears. So Miss Karen is out here crying and boo-hooing because apparently she was booed by an audience during American Idol's Hollywood Week, which if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's taking place in Nashville or whatever. So yeah, the people out there not feeling her. And I'm shocked that Nashville of all people, but then again, I think what it is that Nashville gets painted with this broad brush of like all country music stars are MAGA, and it's not all of them. It's just the ones that are performative. So, or looking for a moment of cloud or whatever the case is. So, we can't paint all of Nashville with the broad brush. And so I'm surprised that, like I said, Nashville of all places is coming for Carrie underwears. So now at the heart of the controversy is the country music star's alleged MAGA leanings, with critics repeatedly pointing to her performance at President Donald Trump's 2025 inauguration ceremony as evidence. Carrie Underwood has never publicly confirmed any political affiliation, but did say her decision to sing at the ceremony was due to her passion for her country. Wasn't that what they always say? Now, after Underwood took to Twitter to share a surprising update about her ongoing role as judge on American Idol, a heated debate erupted in the comments between her critics and supporters. Underwood had revealed that she gets booed a lot by the Hollywood Week audience and seemed taken aback by the reaction as she added a flushed face emoji. Because when people understand your politics and that your politics are going to harm others outside of you being white, which I don't understand because you white women are affected by a lot of the policies that the MAGA movement is doing. So I don't understand how y'all being in lockstep with the situation. These men don't see it for you. Um, but when your policies affect other people, that's why they don't fuck with you. And that's why they booing you. But of course, when you're like someone who's completely oblivious to what's going on around you, of course she's going to be surprised by the backlash. She also tagged the show in a tweet, though it remains unclear whether she's calling on producers to take action or simply highlighting the moment. But what is producers going to do? Because they'll still find ways to harass you. What they're trying to do is trying to push you out as a judge. And quiet as it's kept, while I like Carrie Underwood, like the ED, as I say, back when she was on the show, because I understand, like I've always said, the one thing I like about, particularly with competition shows, is the fact that if you bring somebody on the show that has been through the trenches and understands what it's like to be in the shoes of the competitors, it comes across as a way of being more interesting, depending on who you have, because there's some people out here that's just horrible judges. But if you have someone like a Carrie Underwood on the show, it's understandable because she's been through what these contestants are trying. She's been where these contestants are trying to get. And so having on there, that would have been great. But when you align yourself with a specific political party, that's all about doing harm to marginalized communities specifically and immigrants. Well, they're part of marginalized. Anything other than white male and rich is what, they don't see it for you if you don't have those qualities. And it's been showing in a lot of the policies and a lot of the stuff that we've been seeing. Then yeah, you're gonna get the backlash. And even though they stopped presidential pollings, like they're trying to get rid of that because you know who in the White House, and they already know, like, if he finds out that he's starting to poll really low amongst American consumers or just Americans in general, that he's gonna throw a temper tantrum like a man baby, and he's gonna threaten to sue, even though how you trying to sue people for doing a poll when this is how the American people feel? But when you so caught up in your lunacy and your delusions of grandeur, people don't want to hear the truth. So the comment from Underwood has racked up nearly 2 million views, but what drew even more attention was how it reignited intense speculation about her alleged MAGA ties. Underwood has never publicly confirmed her political affiliation. Still, many critics have labeled her a Republican, pointing to her performance at the inaugural ceremony, making President Trump's second term as the basis for their claims. In the comments section, one user bluntly told Underwood that the boos were due to her alleged conservative leanings. LOL, you bet. You sang for a madman, the netizen commented, referencing the singer's January 20th performance at the U.S. Capitol. Another critic called out the singer, saying, "You took the extra step of making sure literally everyone dislikes you. Respect." However, some also directly supported her and helped and heaped praises on her talent. Forget the haters, focus on those that love you and who enjoy your talent. One more person commented, "Those boos are just jealous echoes from the audience wishing they had your talent. You're the idol they all aspire to be." Okay, it's not, if that's how you want to simplify it, okay. But anybody out here trying to be Carrie Underwears? Now, a Twitter user mentioned that the boos were performative as several other Democrats had attended the inauguration, just like Underwood. Are you serious with that comment? Because now I got to educate your dumb ass. First of all, when you do an inauguration, all the presidents past and all the presidents from the past and politicians show up because it's all about solidarity, showing solidarity for who you're passing everything down to the next president to do whatever they're going to do for the next 4 years. That's what that means. But tell me you don't know. I swear, when people try to show like they don't know nothing about politics, it makes it so obvious. So that's why everybody was there. When you had Barack and all of them, and Clintons and all of them that was there because they were doing it. Now, if you really want to get into the conversation, when Joe Biden beat you in the as the president, and you threw a temper tantrum, still talking about that the shit was rigged and that the election was stolen from you, your fat man baby ass didn't even show up. So, um, so yeah, you didn't even show up to the situation. So who's the one that's a sore loser? You like to call everybody a damn loser. Onyx, you have a job to do. I'm seeing comments in here where, we got these retarded ass Trump supporters. So, where was I? Let me continue. Somebody also said, funny, I seem to recall Bill and Hillary Clinton, Joe and Jill Biden, Obama, Kamala, and many other Democrats in attendance at the inauguration. The TikTok generation can't seem to help themselves from the constant herd virtue signaling, which is like they're supposed to show up. That's what politicians do. It's like, regardless of who it is, Democrats or Republicans, you show up and you do what you're supposed to do. So there's that. So now, ahead of her performance for the inauguration, she released a statement explaining her decision to take part. The singer said her voice was driven by a deep love for her country, blah, 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 so on and so forth. It's funny how you always about deep love for her country. Bitch, this ain't even your country. Y'all on stolen land. Your mother, asshole. Somebody don't look in the mirror. You can kiss my entire ass. How about that? So he's like, you won. Yeah, you won, and y'all are polling low. So what are you talking about? I'm not even getting into an argument with these idiotic ass Trump supporters because y'all are stupid. Really are. Dumb as fuck. But anyway, and so is she. So now, um, if this is the hill you want to die on, if you want to take a political stance and be on the wrong side of history, because trust and believe, y'all are on the wrong side of history. Um, then you made your bed, now lie in it. And if you don't want to deal with the boos and people being mad at you over your political affiliation and dealing with a convicted rapist and convicted felon, an actual felon with 30 charges, this is the hill your dumb ass is going to have to die on, and just deal with the boos. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. It was almost announced a bride of what? Well, Kuda stay with her foot on their neck. Well, yeah, that is true. Nashville is like the blue part of, it's more like this, the more liberal part of Tennessee. Just like Florida is a hot ass mess, but you go to Miami, it's just completely different. Two of my goats are washed. What does that mean? I is confused. All right, y'all. So now, hold on. How many more topics we got? Okay, we down to our final four. All right, y'all. So now we're down to our final four topics. So before we get to our final four, could you please do me a solid if you have not already? Hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Also, be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Kris Avalon Unfiltered. We also have membership. So if you want to become a member, definitely you can do that if you like. But also hit that like and that subscribe and the notification. It definitely helps with the algorithm and pushing that show out there and all that good stuff. So I just can't with these slow ass maggots that like to come up in my comments with they bullshit. I was like, don't you know I will cuss your ass out? But I'm gonna start wasting my energy on idiots. I really do. I'm just not gonna say a word. Y'all just getting fucking blocked. I don't have time for y'all. Um, but anyway, without further ado, let's get into this mess. So let's talk about the DL whisperer. So this old queen got her ass locked up because you out here running, like trying to get clout, trying to get fame and fortune and success and all these other things because you made your career off of being transphobic. And then you had to one up, and because you had a couple of black women that loved that you were feeding into the transphobia with your self-hatred, being a self-hating rhymes with maggot, and that you was feeding into that, and you realize you can get fame and clout off of that. And I told y'all, fame is one hell of a drug. Is way more expensive and way more powerful than actual money and actual drugs. So people get caught up in the matrix of the fame and everything. And when that fame is starting to fleet a little bit, when it's starting to wane, you got to find ways to keep having that drug get injecting your body. So you got to take it the extra mile. And the extra mile that this old tired ass faggot did was he decided to run up out here and start stalking people and showing up on their property and all that other stuff. Hold on, because I do have the gay magazine situation, and I'm gonna pull that up while I go through this damn article. So this old tired ass queen with all that, look at all that grease she got on her lips. So law enforcement officials in Gilmer County have arrested Naquan Tydree Malik Palmer, a social media personality known online as DL Whisperer. According to records from the Gilmer County Sheriff's Office, Palmer was taken into custody at approximately 10:22 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on a warrant for felony aggravated stalking. While the specific incident leading to the arrest has not been fully detailed by investigators, the arrest follows months of public tension between Palmer and media figure T.S. Madison. Now, the criminal charge comes shortly after T.S. Madison successfully petitioned a Gilmer County judge for a temporary protective order against Palmer. Court documents associated with that order alleged a pattern of behavior that required judicial intervention. In Georgia, the leap from simple stalking to aggravated stalking usually occurs when a person is accused of violating a court mandate, such as a restraining order or bond condition. Saying, quote, aggravated stalking typically arises when someone is accused of engaging in stalking behavior in violation of a court order, which elevates the offense as a serious felony. So I guess after that, he decided to go and go back on her property or whatever the case was. I'm like, are you dumb? Clearly he is. Because I think this was like after he reported on this whole situation regarding Dominique Morgan, where they said it was some type of felony criminal, like some money, whatever type of scheme she was doing. I'm not sure of the issue because off of the top of my head, but I know there's been some other gay bloggers like Jay Exclusive and a bunch of others who have reported on this. I got to watch that video to brush up on the tea, alleged tea. But I'm like, I don't know. I need TS to discuss this if there was a situation that went down. But I gotta get myself a little more abreast of the situation that was going on in this before I could speak on it. But for the most part, I don't know if maybe after she had gotten the restraining order, he was still going around, going to people properties and stalking. Because I do remember hearing the story that he showed up at one of her, because I believe she has 2 mansions, that he showed up at one of her properties that has been turned into like sort of would it be considered like a halfway house or something or other that helps underprivileged trans girls, I guess, to get themselves together, and then they go, and once they get all their bearings, whatever, they go out in the world and fend for themselves, whatever the case. So it's kind of like I'm gonna call it an underground railroad for the trans girls. And Dominique Morgan was a part of, I guess, was helping Maddie out with that. And um Daquan has been out here spewing a lot of his transphobic talking points or whatever the case is. And it's not like he was saying anything relatively inventive or new. You were just regurgitating old stupid talking points for attention. And the people that was jumping on this and agreeing and making him famous were just a bunch of women who hate women for being trans and are out here mad because the men that they want to sleep with or are sleeping with have a thing for either gay men, or it might be bisexual, or into trans women. And I don't think we should be trying to, and it's a whole complex situation regarding how to discuss the situation of how men who are heterosexual or straight presenting go after trans women, or trans attracted. And it's like, especially if you're Black and a male, they're not allowed to explore those things because immediately y'all think about what's in between a trans person's legs via their pre or post op trans, and y'all be so focused on what they got between me down there instead of just thinking like, what is it about these men? Men are visual creatures. Men look at it as, if you are on the outside and you present as giving fish, and you can't be clocked, that attracts a man. Now, if you got a little something extra down there, they ain't gonna mind it because it's like, okay, well, you got what I got, and but you also got women parts. That's a little extra situation. Remember that episode of Pose when Christopher Maloney's character wanted Electra to stay the way she was with her peen, because he was just like, I mean, if I wanted just a regular woman, whatever, I would go and get one. He liked the fact that you had the boobs and you had all the presentation of a woman, but you had a dick. Because it's like you getting the best of both worlds. I'm not saying all men is like that, but it's just like there's a thing about men where it's just like there's a little freak up in them. But also, if you having these little feelings or freakishness or whatever the case is, you can't just treat a trans woman as just some little object that you could just play with like it's a sex toy and then throw it away like they don't have feelings or they're human. So it's all different nuances and sides to that. And when you try to just diminish them as just some body or just some freak or whatever the case is, which this old tired ass queen will play into, throwing his own people under the bus for money, success, fame, and glamour, then what do you think? It's like he got to keep going to the point where you're gonna end up in jail, or bad enough, what if you ended up on somebody's property and it's some stand your ground type situation, and somebody come out with a shotgun and fill in the rest? If it got to that point, then what? Because you wanted fame and success and all this other stuff. And the unfortunate part about this is there will always be more deal whisperers that's going to come out with the foolishness. Somebody going to be as worse as this one. And now look at you. You're going to spend a year in jail because they want that fame and fortune. What is that going to do for you, sir? So yeah, because they're talking about that he might go to jail for 10 years. And they said the case represents a significant shift in the ongoing legal battle. Authorities have noted that sentencing outcomes would ultimately depend on judicial discretion and the specific evidence might brought forward by prosecutors. So yeah, shout out to Baller Alert for this story. But before we go, because Gay Magazine went in and wrote the whole story. So shout out to them. That's how I first found out about it. And I was like, and look at God. And I did screenshot and tag TS on Twitter about it. But I know probably due to legal reasons, she can't really respond. But I did send it to her the second it came out. And so I did want to get into this video because my girl, yet again, Hope Giselle, who is an activist and a Black trans woman, spoke out about Miss Daquan. And I was like, I 10 toes down with everything that she said in regards of this situation. So hold on, because I gotta pull up the clip. And yeah, so now I'm gonna get the clip and we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk. Please hold.
Some of y'all hate gay men, but y'all love a punk. And that's exactly what the DL Whisper is, a punk. So let me say this real slow for the people in the back with selective hearing. This man did not get canceled. He got arrested, rightfully so, because there's a difference. He didn't get misunderstood. He stalked people, posted their addresses, pulled up to their houses, threatened their mothers for hours online like it was a full-time job with overtime. And that includes people like T.S. Madison, Dominique Morgan, and even a fellow gay man by the name of D. So miss me with the free him rhetoric, because free him from what? His own consequences? Because last I checked, when you terrorize communities, that's not activism, that's criminal behavior. And here's the gag. This whole thing was never about DL men to begin with. It was about permission. It was about the permission to hate trans women out loud, permission to weaponize trauma, permission to wrap bigotry in fake concern and call it protection. A gay man using DL discourse to attack trans women is not saving cisgender women. It's transmissia in 4K. It's misogyny with a Bluetooth, and it's violence with a ring light, whatever you want to call it. And all of you women that are cheering him on because it lets you dump your own transmissia under the guise of safety, baby, y'all are not being manipulated. And I want y'all to remember that. You are actively participating. Then comes the nastiest part to me. He threw up a GoFundMe and it worked. Y'all gave money to a stalker but silenced the victims. Money for threats but crumbs for the people who are actually living in fear. Money for hatred but none for housing or legal support or therapy or community care of the women that y'all actually care about or claim to. This tells me everything that I need to know about who society thinks deserves protection. So let's be crystal clear here. Bond was denied, and that's not oppression, that's accountability. Getting arrested is not persecution, it's a consequence for being horrible. And anybody still defending this man after the threats that he made, the stalking, the addresses, all the harassment campaigns, you're not neutral, you're complicit. And anybody screaming about innocence until proven guilty while trans women are actively being terrorized, yeah, you're not being fair, you're being a bigot with manners. So let's be real, right? Here's the real DL. There's always funding for harming trans people. There's always empathy for abusers. There's always grace for men who scare women. But when trans women ask for safety, crickets. That's a conspiracy, not some super secret gay agenda. It's the violence against trans women that is socially acceptable as long as you call it exposure. So laugh if you need to, read them if you must, but don't miss this lesson. Because when people show you who they are willing to protect, believe them. And until y'all do, I'll wait. Some of y'all hate gay.
All right, so I feel like I don't need to say anything. I don't need to add anything else. She said what she said, and I 1,000% agree. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story regarding what Hope Giselle had to say, as well as this latest on the DL Whisperer? Because I did see this picture, which I did find funny. Hold on, let me see if I can find that over on Facebook, because I did post it and I thought it was hilarious that Maddie posted. But I don't know if it was relatable to. Of course, I got somebody's putting dumb shit in my comments. But hold on, let me see if I can find it before we get up out of here. Okay, I found her. So T.S. Madison went and posted this photo on her page, and I did have a cackle. Hold on now. I'm like, do you think this had anything to do with it? When I saw this picture, I had a key cackle. If you don't know Game of Thrones, this is gonna go over your head. But it was definitely given that they put her face on, one of the characters was like, yeah, I want to let her know it was me in that whole situation. So maybe Maddie did get her ass locked up. But that's your own karma, bitch. So you made your bed, that line in Kenny. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right. So now let's see. Peen. So basically he likes chicks with a dick. Oh, Deal Whisperer? Who knows what he like? I just know that he just been making his bones on being a damn hater. That's basically what it is that you just run around hating on someone, and I guess you feel that because T.S. Madison is one of the biggest trans stars out here. Like T.S. Madison has crossed over. She's not just some chitlin circuit type, performer. She's literally in those rooms doing Drag Race. She's doing like mainstream stuff. So she's a brand beyond what um people expected. So when you're like one of the biggest girls out here with one of the biggest platforms, of course you're gonna get some clout chaser like DL Whisperer trying to gain some type of attention. So why not go after the biggest chick in the game and gain some clout? And people talk about she pussy or whatever for following suits or whatever. I was like, so y'all want me to come out here and fuck up my brand for what? Y'all entertainment? Like, no, y'all not gonna catch me out here in these streets. I'm not gonna do no dumb shit just so that way I can gain an extra 15 minutes or make more money. I'm not Trashy K and the rest of these idiots out here that is like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go and spread lies or whatever and get caught up in a lawsuit because I have to continue to feed this beast and my fan base so they don't run off to somebody else who's gonna be messier than me. Well, if that's the case, go over there and look for that next messy person. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to grow and build this as a brand that's gonna last decades. This is not something I just want to be doing I was gonna say as a hobby. A hobby is you don't get paid for what you do. I get paid for doing this. So it's not a hobby. But you know what I'm saying? In the context of what people do is like just some random schmandom type of thing that you just do for whatever reason. This is something that I see as a legitimate business. So I'm not gonna come out here and fuck up my bag and my opportunities because y'all want mess. Now I can be messy with some of the stuff I say, but I'm not going to deliberately come and be messy for your entertainment. You can go. There's plenty of people that can give you all that, and then you see at the end of the day, they don't grow. You have to evolve at the end of the day in certain situations. But if y'all thinking this is the way to go about it to be famous, you have to realize that yeah, that's cute or whatever, and you get that fast fame, but you got to find ways to maintain it. And that's going to be, and once that's the way you come out, that's the expectation that those fans that you've gathered are expecting you to always give. So now you got to keep going and keep going the extra mile. And now look at him, he in jail. But anyway, let's move on from that title queen. And let's talk about some more queens. Let's get in the heat of rivalry. So y'all know there's supposed to be a new book coming out later on this year that I believe is a sixth on one of the I think it's like the sixth book or the seventh book. It doesn't matter. It's a new book. Well, apparently the book has been delayed because I believe that the author of the book is going through some things right now. So let's get into the tea. So the Ravenous Heated Rivalry fandom will have to wait just a bit longer for the release of Unrivaled, the next book from author Rachel Reed in the Ilya Rozanov and Shane Hollander romance saga. Reed shared a video on IG announcing that the book had officially moved from its planned September 29th launch. Charlie, I gotta wait until it's gonna wait until 2027, June 1st. She said multiple reasons are involved, Reed explained in the video. I could play the video, but I don't care. I'm gonna just read it to y'all. So now, she describes the newfound heat the Canadian TV series adaptation cultivated as beyond a dream come true, but added, it's also been very, very busy and overwhelming. My life has gotten very different in the past couple of months, and although it's all good, it's also taken away my ability to have quality time to write. And there's nothing more important to me than Unrivaled being the best book it can possibly be. So wait, the book ain't done? I thought the book was done. And then she's supposed to have it come out in September. I mean, it is February. But I guess with everything going on, and she also has Parkinson's, which I didn't know that. She also shared a health update noting her symptoms have gotten a bit worse and it's made it difficult to physically to write. She clarified the writing process has been going well. However, I just need a little more time. So maybe it's just the stress of the success of Unrivaled that she feels that it's maybe the stress is what flares up the Parkinson's. I'm assuming, because I always feel like when people get sick, if you stressed out, it does make it feel worse. So I'm wondering if that might be the case. So the soft and the blow, Reed signaled some announcements are coming later this week about some things that I think people will have been hoping for. At the very least, it gives newcomers to Reed's hockey romance world more time to catch up on the 6 other books in the Game Changer series. Game Changer, Heated Rivalry, Tough Guy, Common Goal, Role Model, and The Long Game. And funny enough, I have a friend who actually, Karan, who bought all the books, and I think he finished them all. He loves the books. So yeah, it definitely gives people enough time to catch up. Heated Rivalry, the show created for Canada's Crave streamer and released in the US on HBO Max, adapted the main events of Reed's second book about, well, obviously, because it's called Heated Rivalry, about 2 rival professional hockey players, Ilya, played by Connor Story, and Shane, played by Hudson Williams, falling in love in secret off the ice. Season 1 also incorporated storylines from the first book that involved the love story of hockey pro Scott Hunter, played by Francois Arnault, and smoothie barista Kip Grady, played by Robbie GK, as well as the presence of Kyle Swift, Matthew Finland, a main character from Reed's Common Goal. While the TV series will continue to follow Shane and Ilya in season 2, showrunner Jacob Tierney also teased in recent press the arrival of Troy Barrett, another athlete whose narrative with social media guru Harris Drover is the center of Reed's role model. Well, I have to say, I love the fact that he's introducing all these different queer characters into the show, and I'm really looking forward to see what they're going to bring with that. But they said, as for Unrivaled, Harlequin released, not relapsed, a plot synopsis for the next phase of Ilya and Shane's arc. A line has been drawn, and the hockey world is divided. For the first time in their professional hockey careers, Ilya Rozanov and Shane Hollander have nothing to hide. After more than a decade of keeping their love secret, they're out, married, and even playing on the same team. The support has been incredible. Most of the time, while fans celebrate them, others in the hockey world are still reeling from the reveal. A growing backlash led by the popular hockey podcast Top Shelf and the hashtag Take Back Hockey movement is making its presence felt. Standing together in the light was everything Shane and Ilya ever wanted. Now they may be facing their biggest challenge yet. Because I'm like, yeah, we definitely, hopefully that book will address a lot of homophobia in sports, particularly a sport as conservative as, and that tries to pan itself as family oriented as hockey. So, as for the show, I will say this: season 2 is supposed to start filming later this year. I know that Connor and Hudson are working on other projects in the meantime, which I think is really good. But also, um, 2027 is when the new season is supposed to come out, which I guess is great, but that's a long time between seasons to be waiting for a show to come out. Like it's like the show ended in December of 2025, and now I gotta wait till 2027 for a whole new season. I don't like this whole thing with cable shows. We all take too got with streaming shows. We all take too long. We need to get back to the days of annual release. Excuse me, annual releases, because this whole 2 year, 3 year gaps or whatever, the momentum of the show is going to die down if you keep people waiting for so long. But in regards to the book, hopefully the author gets better. I understand, like, if you have Parkinson's, that's just something that you can't fight against, especially if you're writing and the pain and stuff you're going to have to deal with. But um, just get better. Work on the thing when you need to work it on. They gave you enough time to push the book out, and everybody just have to wallow in what's we have so far with Heated Rivalry until we get the new season and the new book, the 7th book. So I'll say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding that? Y'all might have to wait a little longer to see what Ilya and Shane are been up to in the 7th installment of the franchise. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. She told no lies. Society have shown to defend and support abuses in the most horrendous people than the victims, so long as they share their bigotry or has charisma that makes them easily pursued. Are we talking about hope? Because I was like, wait, where did that come from? Yeah, that must have been the thing about yeah, Hope Giselle. I've been getting a craving to read Heated Rivalry. I saw a viral tweet of the straight one getting head and decided I'll pass on the show. Oh yeah, I did see the video of um Ilya blowing, was it Ilya blowing Shane? Yeah. Yeah, it was Ilya blowing Shane. I'm like, and that whole sequence or whatever. You said you're gonna pass on the show. I mean, the show is very sexual, but I definitely want to check out the books and see what the books are about because I haven't read them. But anyway, let's get back into the rest of the show because we have two more topics left. And let's talk about All Stars too. So, can y'all believe it has been, we're coming up on the 10-year anniversary of All Stars 2. Feel old yet? Well, apparently, some people were online talking about All Stars 2, and Jeremy Carey, aka the artist formerly known as Phoebe O'Hara, decided to jump in the comments and reminisce on the show and said that yeah, there was no face crack. Because I remember the iconic scene when there was, the girls had to do very survivor as type eliminations. They had to eliminate each other with a lipstick, which I thought was very genius, with the whole lipstick thing with the queen's name on it. And they came back into the workroom and Fifi was talking shit from what we're talking about based off of what we saw and what was presented on the show. Phoebe was talking a lot of shit about the other queens, or whatever the case was, and all of a sudden they show like that little double mirror, the double-sided mirror, and some of the eliminated queens like Ginger Minge and Alyssa Edwards with iconic stare that she was given were on the other side, and it looked like Fifi gagged. It was like, oh, y'all trying to, I mean, well, basically we could just call it what it is. Production literally set her ass up because FIFA, I guess, was being a nuisance or whatever. For whatever reason, they decided to go after her. And I guess they probably felt that we could have two redemption arcs on the show because remember, Roxy Andrews during her season with Jinx, she was very much problematic, which I've always said in that past interview that I've done with Roxy when we were at XL and I interviewed the queens of that season. I do regret that the way I interviewed her, I came in as somebody who watched the show and didn't like her behavior. So my tone was a little unprofessional. And I do she probably don't remember this, but I felt bad the way I approached that interview in those days. I was young, I was wet and fresh behind the ears. I ain't know no better, and when you know better, you do better. So I apologize and I've apologized many a times in regards to that whenever we talk about it. But she had came across stank during her season, and she said that in All Stars too, and was coming there to change and not have changed people's perception. And I think Fifi was doing the same thing, but according to what we saw, Fifi couldn't resist going back to old Fifi-ish ways. And the way the narrative was being presented on the show was just like, you basically are trying to produce the show instead of just naturally being yourself. So let's get into the actual story. So the legendary episode titled Revenge of the Queens featured the eliminated contestants returning for a chance to get their revenge. The clarification comes right on time as All Stars 2 widely considered by fans as the best drag race season of all time. Well, actually it was. And I just watched it not too long ago. I'm currently on All Stars 4, but because I started watching all the All Stars again. So I'm almost done with All Stars 4. I think I got like 2 more episodes left, and we're about to go into the next season, All Stars 5, which had Ricky Martin. But All Stars 2 definitely was an iconic season, and it was just so much drama, and I was just living for it. So yeah, they said All Stars 2, while considered to be by fans as the best drag race season of all time, reaches its 10-year anniversary in August. After the airing of All Stars 2, Jeremy announced that he'd step away from doing drag as a primary occupation and successfully disengaged from the drag race fandom overall. Understandably, things changed a bit with the passing of Jiggly Caliente in April of 2025, given that Jiggly was a dear season 4 sister to Jeremy. And then not only that, also, remember, Jeremy also started speaking up on social media when it came to Willem going on Roscoe's and saying something or another about Fifi and talking about she wanted to hit her on her season, whatever the case was, and that sparked Jeremy to get on social media and say what she had to say about her. So um, despite what the reunion special might have you believe, the two of them remain friends after the sugar walls of reality TV came down. It also has been a full decade since All Stars 2 aired, so it stands to reason that Jeremy can now engage, albeit still rarely, with fans here and there without things getting too crazy. To that end, Jeremy shared a cheeky response to get another viral video of the so-called face crack moment of Fifi O'Hara seeing the eliminated queens from All Stars 2 showing up on the other side of the workroom mirror, saying, "Can't believe it's been 10 years since the face crack of the century on All Stars 2, the original poster wrote on Twitter." Well, I would show y'all the clip, but it's owned by Paramount, and I'm not trying to get a demonetization situation where I gotta erase it. So I'm not going to mess with it. But um what else is that? Okay, so Jeremy replied, "The way people still believe it was a face crack when the lead up behind the scenes was me telling them I bet you they are bringing people back because we were waiting to be on camera for over an hour between stage and this moment." Wait, what? Category is y'all want a twist, eh? "You were so over the mind games," a fan noted. "Made iconic TV, though." Jeremy wrote back, "Literally over it. It was the moment I said, fuck it, I'm done with this show. The blatant favoritism and the manipulation." And you got to also realize that, production, when they have their favorites, you know how they get. And Alyssa Edwards, because she was funny with her, the tongue pops and the facial expressions, the rigor mortis, the rigory of it all, the some of the things, the lines that she would say had people laughing and they knew she was a fan favorite. So in so many ways, because Fifi was a polarizing figure and had resting bitch face and was and said some of the things that she said that I guess production didn't like. They like to create villains, whatever, but also Alyssa was a fan favorite. But also at the same time, I say some of y'all say what y'all say on these shows. You can blame it on the edit, but nobody put a gun in your head and make y'all react and say the things that you say on the show. And so the production, once you give it to them, they could put whatever they could put on the show that the way they need to. Especially when you got eliminated by Alyssa and you decided to not be, you were shady and you put up them acrylic nails, you talk to the hand and you walked off the stage and sang your little ditty, which had everybody laughing, and you left with an attitude, which I found funny because in the following season when Morgan McMichaels got eliminated and they thought she was going, she said, "I'm not Fifi, girl." That was funny. Is I know I'm not going to sit up in here and be, I'm going to be graceful and a human being, and I'm not going to just ignore you because you pissed me off or you sent me home. It's a game. It's a TV show. So they said it was so iconic and still lives to this day, though. Another Drag Race fan chimed in. "I remember being like, God, I hope they read each other for filth, and y'all low-key did." Attached to that Twitter post is an instantly iconic shot of Tyra Banks in Netflix's newly released docuseries Reality Check Inside America's Next Top Model. However, Jeremy elucidated his point yet again that the edit did not capture his perspective of what actually happened in the workroom, noting that other queens from All Stars 2 have also gone on record to say the same thing over the past 10 years. He said, "I didn't read them. I repeated what the judges said. It was strategically done that way to show the hypocrisy of how others can say the same thing and not get the treatment I did. To this day, people like Detox and others have shared how I simply repeated what the judges critiqued and was ripped for it." Since retiring the Fifi O'Hara stage name and no longer working as an active drag performer, Jeremy has completely reinvented himself as web streamer and content creator. As of this writing, he has nearly 25,000 followers on Twitch and maintains an impressive audience of 370,000 followers on Instagram and 120,000 followers on Twitter. So Last October, Jeremy celebrated turning 40. Yes, 40, child. Welcome to the 4 Club with an emotional post reflecting on the losses, the love, and the life he's experienced over the past 10 years, noting that he didn't think I would ever make it past my 30s. He also wrote about being excited and looking forward to navigating his 40s. Well, it does get greater later. I'll tell you that. Like, because trust and believe, as someone who was a wild child in his 20s and 30s, once you hit 40, it's just sort of like everything just hits you like I wouldn't say all at once, but it's like you just start to have a great perspective of things and you start to appreciate a lot of stuff that's going on in your life more. So I like being older. Now, it will always be a challenge for Jeremy and every single other queen in the All Stars 2 cast to escape the reality TV excellence that queer fans around the world experience when watching and rewatching that season. Yeah, I just rewatched the season. So, and it's funny because I was literally having a conversation with someone and we was talking about the whole reality situation with Top Model. And we were sitting up there talking about who do you think, we can't wait till y'all do the drag race one. And we was like, who do you think will produce it? And I said, Willem. And they were like, maybe not. I mean, Willem, maybe not. But they definitely said that Fifi probably be up on there talking. So Jeremy might get up on there and do a little interview or something or another. But if it's produced by Willem, I don't know, because them two be going at it every now and again with stuff. And Jeremy seems to have moved on to become a bigger and better person and all that other stuff, and they've mellowed out from what we've seen and what they're presenting. But yeah, as long as that season exists, it's going to continuously live on, and people are going to keep bringing it up. Because trust and believe, when it's the 15th anniversary of that season, somebody going to talk about the face crack, and you have to mention it again, or the 20th anniversary. So it's going to keep going on and on and on. And even when you explained what went down to your blue in the face, people are still going to have this idea in your head. So you've moved on, you made peace with it, and it is what it is. But shout out to y'all, and shout out to you for giving us one of the best seasons of All Stars thus far. So I'll say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Have you revisited the second season of All Stars? And what did you think of all that was said in this whole segment? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Saying right, that long wait between seasons is why Stranger Things took 10 place. And don't even get me started on Stranger Things because that last season pissed me all the way off. It makes me forget what happened. But yeah, and I'm like, I'm too lazy to sit through and watch recaps or go back to the past season. It's kind of like with Scream 7 coming out this week. I kind of wanted, I was like, you know what? I do want to go and do a whole Scream binge. But then life happens. I got lazy, but thank God for YouTube because there's been some YouTubers out there that have created like little recap videos or certain videos. Like Joe Blow, I think recently just did a video on Scream 7. Well, not Scream 7, on Scream 6. And also they do like all these other ones that do full recaps of like the show, like all the movies and stuff. I'm gonna just watch those to refresh the memory. And if I feel like it, then maybe over the weekend. Well, I'm gonna be working over the weekend, so it's gonna be hard. But if I have the time, I'll go and I'll watch them. But it becomes too much at times. It's crazy. Yeah, it's been 10 years. Time flies. I would like to see Tatiana on the show. I like Tatiana. I hated the way they did her in her season of All Stars, but I would like to see Tatiana come back. I do like the old veterans that come back on occasion. We'll be having some. I was gonna say we'll be having some Vivacious. Yeah, well, Vivacious is on the upcoming season of All Stars. They are bringing some of the old legends back. I think Morgan McMichaels is coming back, if I'm not mistaken, on All Stars 11. So, and Mystique. So they're some of the old legends is coming back. All right, y'all. So now let's get into our final topic. And it's about messy Plain Jane. So, Plain Jane is about to appear in 2 days, which will be Thursday. I think they're going to premiere right after. Well, I don't know. It's on two different channels. because House of Villains season 3 is gonna feature Plain Jane. She's doing promotions, and in the process has been throwing a little shade towards this current season of Drag Race, which he's done before. And I think damn, which queen was it? The recent queen that just got eliminated. Not Mia, the one that got eliminated before her. I know she came out and clapped back at Plain. But let's get into the story. So the talented finalist from season 16 for RuPaul's Drag Race has never shied away from her shady opinions, and fans will get to see her in her element on the upcoming season of House of Villains. Jane is following in Candy Muse's footsteps as the next controversial Drag Race contestant to compete against other TV titans such as Tom Sandoval, Christine Quinn, Tiffany Pollard again, and more. She said, quote, I feel like Cute is going to devour Gorgeous because Candy Muse has a strong appetite than I do, as you can tell. Candy chewed so I can swallow. I'm definitely going to pick up her torch and run with it, baby, representing Drag Race and the queer community. This is what she told Out. And funnily enough, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, Candy Muse does make an appearance on this upcoming season. I don't know if it's gonna be a couple of episodes or just like one episode, but she does pop up because I saw in the preview when they were showing like the first trailer for it. They said it's safe to say there's some real star power in House of Villains, but according to Jane, the same can't be said for the current cast of RuPaul's Drag Race. Although Jane has already stated that none of the queens competing on season 18 of Drag Race have any star power, she's doubling down on her hot take after watching the last few episodes. She said, You're going to see me on other projects outside of Drag Race. I don't see any of the girls on this season picking up that torch. No shade, I don't. There are no stars this time around. I would be happy to come support them at their local bars after their 7 minutes is up, but I don't see them doing anything. That is shady. Yeah, but she said, but I don't see them doing anything like this. In fact, Jane even says she has no interest in even watching the current season of Drag Race, but her paid gigs are forcing her to watch the rest of the season. So what does that mean? That what the gigs that she has, she's watching it and doing recaps of the show, or I'm just confused because I know, don't she also do like a little podcast? First of all, there's too many of you queens out here with podcasts doing recap shows. She said, I'm actually getting paid to watch because there's a little app I have to live react on. I'm only doing it for the bag. If it wasn't for the bag, I wouldn't be watching. Well, tell us how you really feel, Jane. But let's address what she had to say. Do y'all think that there are no stars on this show? Like, I could definitely see Mikey Meeks going off and doing something outside of Drag Race or Nene Coco. But you're talking about what is your definition of a star? Because I'm like, is it somebody that has to be messy and cause drama for drama's sake or for the TV, like you did, or Mistress Isabel Brooks? Like, are you talking about that level is that what your definition of star quality is? Because I will say this, I do agree. Well, she didn't really say it, but I'm gonna say it. This season has kind of been boring. It's been mostly challenge focused. I feel like um there are no real standouts that I'm seeing. I know they pretty much had it all for Athena being like she was going to be the big star, but I don't see it in her. Mia was coasting. Um, the other Dion, what's her name? Juicy. I feel like they carrying her throughout the show, so she's not really bringing anything. You're being carried. You're not really like holding your own. And Athena is just y'all thought she was gonna be this season Sasha Colby, and she's not giving Sasha Colby. She's barely giving, anything. She's giving local bar icon. Like you real good at holding court in Miami and where's she from? Greece. So you good at holding down the club scene, and that's why I said like it was kind of shit. But she said, "Oh, I could definitely see like I'll go and give them a little dollar. I'll give them $1 or something when they 7 minutes is up from performing." But as far as like the star quality that it takes to transition beyond Drag Race, that you can't just rely on this show, that you have to have that it factor to be able to go off in different things. Like when you look at someone like Safira Cristal, which I heard that they wanted her to come and do All Stars 12, and she turned it down because it's like, Yeah, I totally agree. Why go back to the show? You don't need to. You're busy and booked doing different things. I feel like if you go back on All Stars, it's just a way of reminding. You need to remind people that you're still around. That's the way I look at it. And I also was thinking about this because Snatch Game, even though this episode wasn't bad, I think Snatch Game probably needs to go away. They need to come up with something different to be an annual thing because it's too many. Snatch Game is oversaturated. I understand it's like a pinnacle moment in all the Drag Race franchises, but at this point, we run out of people for y'all to impersonate, and y'all not really out here creating people anymore. It's or like a Joan Crawford or something. Like there's no stars of that ilk that you can impersonate and it be iconic. Now it's just all about influencers and reality stars. So, and they're not entertaining. Like, how many people can you actually person out there that are entertaining that you can make funny? So, there might be they may have to come up with a new concept that's similar to Snatch Game but different because the times have changed and the way we consume the show has changed, and how we value celebrity and that sort of thing has changed. So, shout out, I guess, to Plain Jane out here being messy. But I want to know from y'all. Do you agree with her assessment of her talking about the Drag Race girls? She said there's no girls out here from Drag Race that have star quality. Do you agree with her, or are there any queens on this show, current season, that you see that do have the star quality that can go off and do different things? I mean, maybe Kenya Pleaser. Kenya Pleaser is very much, got that big sparkling personality. So she can go up and do a bunch of hosting gigs or whatever the case is outside of the drag world. Well, drag race, but she'd have to be in drag doing it. And like I said, I like Mikey Meeks, I like Nene Coco. They definitely have shown that they have personalities beyond, the drag that they do. And Discord Adams, I think, is also another one that's got an interesting personality and very artistic and creative. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. I don't know why I couldn't think of Vita. It was like on Top Model, they were creative narratives for the girls, but on Drag Race, they enjoy when queens have rivalries to feed on drama. It's like, yeah, they almost have to create the drama. I hope the show commemorates the 10-year anniversary of the 90% of the fandom's favorite season. I mean, she was on the show, but yeah, I know Mystique lost a lot of weight. She was following me on TikTok, but I don't have TikTok anymore. So we were, following each other on there. Not alcoholing. Yeah, she out here whoring herself out for the algorithm. I was like, yeah, so you throwing shade at Drag Race because you want people to come watch you on House of Villains. I'm just like, it's tacky. You've been real tacky with this whole situation. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna throw shade at the show. They don't have a star quality. Well, some people can say the same shit about you. I mean, and Vita did. Trust and believe, she threw a little shade in your direction. But it'd be interesting to see if you say that shit to their face. Anyway, all right, y'all. So we're at the end of today's show. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the latest episode of Kris Avalon Unfiltered. For one more time, if you have not already, please hit that like button, smash the notification bell, hit that subscribe, and all that good stuff. And yeah, so love you all for watching. Thank you for your continued support and all that good stuff. And until next time, ciao, darling.